Welcome in YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're going to be continuing where we left off on our run. We're playing as the Iron Teeth, which is two different groups you have. You have the Folktale and the Iron Teeth. That, for those who haven't seen Timberborn before, this is a post-apocalyptic city building game featuring sentient beavers. That was not misstated. That is what the game is. But unlike a lot of city builders where you have like spring, summer, fall, that you like gather your firewood, your food, and all that kind of stuff, and then winter happens, you just kind of buckle down the hatches and try and ride out to the other side. This game's a little bit different. What we have, and it's going to be perfectly timed, is you have the wet season, and then you have the drought. So if we look at our map, other than my little place up here, it is dry and barren as far as the eye can see, because we're in the drought season for 6.6 days. But what'll end up happening is after 6.6 days, our water resources, which is, can't actually see the one here, it's like buried down there. Yeah, so we got our water source there. There's another one up here somewhere. It's here somewhere. There. You got nowhere up there. Those start emitting water, and it flows through, and they have like lots of stuff going on with the water physics in the game. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to stream. So it is very much entirely around a game of water management. So you can actually see where like all these plants are dying. These are where it's growing blueberries. That's because my little island used to go out here, and I had this tiny, thin little river of water going around here. But using these floodgates over here, and then I've got dams over here, I basically made myself a giant reservoir because, as you can imagine, drought bad. So we're doing what we can to work around the drought and try and keep our people alive. Now, I am playing as the Iron Teeth, which means we raise our young in breeding pods as opposed to the folktales. You just need houses to make more. They just have like different stores. You have to unlock the Iron Teeth. I'm playing as them because honestly, I think I played as them just once. But we're still kind of early game. We're playing on what's a fairly difficult map. My water source is right here. And as you can imagine, if I built my area down here, so I like walled off this area, I'd have all of this backflow of water that would be going through here, that this effectively operates as one giant buffer. Unfortunately, because I'm right up against the water source, there's no buffer. When this goes dry, it's gone. So let's go ahead and speed up time just a little bit, because I am in a drought, so there's not a whole lot for me to do till the water recovers. I do have 200 units of water stored. To keep your beavers alive, the only requirements are food and water for the Iron Teeth. If either of those go down, they will die. They also die of old age, that's just a thing that happens. But, alright, so we also should be expanding on our food offering. So we can get in our fermenter. We could do mushrooms or whatever the heck that is up there. We could do an oil press. Ah, it's oil. Okay, so we get a hydroponic garden. We can expand our food offerings to include mushy mush. Good old mushrooms. We also have like mechanical power and all that. Like right now, these wheels aren't running. And that's because there's no water flow. Since there's no water from here, it's just we're holding the water back, because if I let all that water go, all this would go barren as well, which means we can't pump any more water out. Our trees and our crops start dying. It's a bad time. We don't want to do it. Did I build an forestry? Yes, I did. It's right here. Ah, it's got no workers. I see. So drop that to normal difficulty. Right, so we don't have enough workers quite yet to go. So each one of these makes about 7 people, so we should have 28. Nah, so we're still recovering our population. We unfortunately had a die-off event recently. So a bunch of sad beavers. They definitely left and did not die horrifically to starvation. Alright, so I can go ahead and put a couple buildings up here. Certainly everything was on the up and up, and nothing traumatic happened. Alright, so we got a bunch of pumping stuff. And the way research works in this game is you've got this building, it just runs, and it gives you points of research. You just have to have someone working it. Hey, Dandelion, how's it going? You just apologize to your pops to make things better between you? Good. Honestly, to me, people able to stop and apologize, that is a very positive characteristic. Doing good? You hope you have a good Friday? I am having a good Friday. And things are going good here. I appreciate that. As a reminder, I am streaming on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube, so if it ever seems like I'm talking to someone who just isn't here, that's usually what's happening. My primary platform does happen to be Twitch, but, you know, watch wherever you want. But I usually will try, like, if it's more than, like, how are you doing, that kind of stuff, I'll usually try to make sure to read people's questions. That way, no matter what platform you're on, you get context. And thank you for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Alright, so let's go ahead and speed up time properly. Because basically I'm waiting on research. I think my next move is I'm going to go for the hydroponic garden. And that'll allow me to start growing mushrooms, which will add another option for food. If you notice this number up here in the top left, that's my beaver's well-being. And basically, the more variety of things you get them, the better their well-being. I can't actually remember. I think they work harder or something if their well-being is kept up. I don't actually remember. But there is some kind of benefit for it. Oh, so we're full up on the wood. Now, one of the RD things that this game lets you do that a lot of games don't is we can build up. So all I have to do is I have to decide where I'm going to put a ramp. You know what I'm going to actually do? This is probably a terrible way of doing this. But yeah, so you can actually build up multiple floors. And it could get pretty ridiculous. You can get yourself in trouble where you stack stuff so much, it's really hard to get to the buildings lower in the stack. And then there is a pathing time for the beavers to, you know, climb up the areas and all that. But, you know, it's fine. How are we doing on housing, by the way? I have... $16 extra beds, so we're good on housing. But yeah, so when our science hits 200, we'll put down the hydroponic place. Okay, set that to be slightly higher priority. Put that low, then neutral. That way we start getting our mangroves growing. Hey, Devlin, how's it going? We're also probably going to want to get our rooftop terrace soon for recreation. We'll probably want to have like a couple different ways for them to get up to the second floor. Definitely be a spot there, because that shouldn't be enough crops to matter. So let's go ahead and remove that as well. I'll put another way on over here somewhere. Then we can put a rooftop terrace here on our medium warehouse. Okay, so entertainment. Rooftop terrace. So I'll get them a little bit more good. Do I already have a medical bed? I think I do. Yeah, medical bed's there. Is there anything else I need? Because like I said, we're trying to improve their well-being as much as we can. Yeah, we got the campfire, we got the terrace, we've got the medical bed, and we've got the art thing. Let's see, well, whether enemies near or suffering from insomnia. I mean, that's just the grooves. Okay. Insomnia is no fun. Yeah, circumplating that they can't quite reach it. That'll be what'll happen when that goes. Because this is our housing right now. These 4 buildings. This is a warehouse. These are effectively all warehouses. That's a warehouse. Let's go ahead and plan for other things too. So that's not going to be a great setup to deal with, but I think we go with it. So this is going to be a warehouse. We're going to set this one to hold the mushrooms for when we get them. As soon as I find... There they are. Because that's something I can work on. We've actually got a surplus of wood right now, so it's like, alright, let's just go ahead and use it. That also reminds me, I also need to get gear production going. Ooh, that's a lot of planks. Alright, so we're about to be done with the drought, so that we can stop having the delay. But yeah, so we're gonna have to make gears soon. I actually have the materials to do it, I just gotta figure out where... Oh no, we already got the gears going. Never mind, I take that back. The gears are fine. What we will need, though, is we will need a second fermenter for the mushrooms. And we could just wait on all that happening. Pretty soon I'm gonna have to get some more water stuff happening. I could see potentially one way to address the water thing is like right now you see where I've just... This is the natural river path, and then this is where I've kind of manipulated it all. I could see making this cut over and sideways to make a nice steady flow, because then I could put a bunch of wheels on here. We can start building up our industry on the side here, that kind of thing. Alright, the water's getting pretty low in our reservoir. Yeah, it's right about to dry up where the mangroves are. The mangroves, if they're in dry water, will eventually die, but it does take a little while. So hopefully that doesn't end up being a problem. Hey, She-Wolf, how's it going? Alright, so the drought is over, so if we watch right over here, it'll take a minute for that reservoir to fill up. But as soon as the reservoir fills up above this line, it'll spill over into here until it spills over in there, and then we get to watch the entire map start turning green again. Well, not the entire map, but a good chunk of it. It will take a minute because this is a decent-sized reservoir, so it takes a little while to fill. And empty. We'll know when we're getting close when we start seeing the wheels turn, because that means there's water flow. Yeah, and you're waiting on planks, which aren't going to happen for a little bit. We're definitely going to have to majorly increase our industry, which will be a whole thing. Are these the iron beavers or the other ones? These are the iron beavers. The iron teeth. Oh, and here we go. A little bit of flooding. We've been trying to fix that, like, right afterwards. It floods over real bad, and it takes a minute to correct itself. But as you can see, now we've got the water flowing on through here. The map is turning all green and nice everywhere that the water goes. So that's the thing. So I've got some period of time where we've got water, and then after a little while, we're going to go back to the drought. So I do think we are going to start probably putting the levees to steer this water over. One, just to stop that flooding nonsense. I mean, the short term, I'm just going to build levees. We started doing that last time. We're going to go ahead and start building some levees along here. Because we want to start manipulating where the water does and does not go to keep it under control. And this is just with the way the physics calculations happen with the water. Is like right when it rushes in, it kind of like ups and downs. Yep, it is a big reservoir. And we're going to get more of them that size. Like down the road, we're going to get a bunch down here. The other thing is we'll eventually get TNT, so I can actually make this deeper. Alright. So we are waiting on planks. And that's kind of the bottleneck at the moment. Which are finally going to be able to be produced again. Now we've got the water wheels running. Yeah, so a lot of these require horsepower. Oh, for right now, lower you. Because I don't have the mushrooms yet. We are over 200 science, though. So let's go here to hydroponic garden. Yes. I needed steel for that. Okay, so we're not going to do the hydroponics anytime soon. The oil press only requires gears. So fermented soybeans. Which requires me to do the oil press. Yeah, so fermented soybeans, I require whatever the canola-looking stuff is. So I'm gonna need another 120. That's what happens when you don't pay attention, chat. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get the soybeans, and so it is canola. It actually is very specifically canola. We'll start getting some canola down. You didn't realize, but we're actually playing this. This is Farm Sim now. Alright, so let's go here and delete these two. And we're going to yank up a bunch of these plants here. Because we're making this into more farmland. Because these mango also give us food, so that'll start to become a food source for us as well. Oh, you know what? It's fine. We're going to cut a line across here real fast. So you can put a path over here. It'll have another place to drop down. So that way they can get around in the groves over here. Alright, so we are having them get rid of all these bushes. I am going to have the road for right now. So you're 1, 2, 3 wide. Make that a road for the moment. Oh, I'm also going to need a warehouse for the canola, and I'm also going to need a warehouse for the, I need a warehouse for the canola, and I'm also going to need a warehouse for the, grain. Soybeans. Thank you. Of course, those are larger. I want to avoid... Alright, so you're for the soybeans, and you'll be for the canola. Alright. And I'm going to be rerouting the water here. Like I said, I think it's going to be going up this way and then over. And that... Because then what I should be able to do is I should be able to stilt a bunch of the buildings up here and then build directly on top of where the water is underneath it. Be able to get some good water flow through here. Be able to use a bunch of industry off on this side. That whole bit. Might actually be worth their while to not even go down that route. Like, literally take it, pipe it up here. Maybe just dump it off the side there or something like that. But basically make even more growing zone up here as well. We could see. Right now we're a little bit limited on a lot of the way this ends up working. But the goal is to get a bunch of these wheels turning at this speed. Yeah, because some of these buildings can't quite hit their power. Do I have... Oh wow. A bunch of the beavers all aged up at the same time, so now I've got extra workers. And so what did I need? I need the oil press. We could do that right now. So oil press. So the oil press is a nice tiny little building. Do you need power? You do need power. Which actually makes this kind of complicated. Not really. When we get these two bushes gone, I can put it right there. Yeah, so once these two bushes are removed, I can put the oil press right here. For the time to be. And then because it'll be connected to this, it'll get power through the whole circuit. Because you do have to attach things mechanically to everything, but buildings that require power next to each other just power the other buildings. Alright, so we can go here and pull up that. I was like, why are you... I was like, why are some of you hungry? There's plenty of food. There's not going to be plenty of food very long, but that's why I'm trying to actively work on it. Okay, so let's go ahead, and while we're at it, I need to get more crop in the ground. So you're soybean now. You're canola. And you're soybean. For the time being. We'll have to adjust stuff. Let's get more crops in the ground as soon as we can, so that we're all set up and ready to go. I believe that's for the raw materials. So I'm going to need another warehouse for the finished product. That's the fermented soybean. As well as we are going to need the bigger... We're going to need the place to store the liquid. So that's for the oil. We've got that going on. And in the meantime, we can go ahead and expand these levees a little bit more. We can go ahead and put a path over here as well. Now I can start doing anything with this space right now. We'll get there. This should also limit the amount of flooding we've got going on. Eventually I want to go down and start putting the rest of this land to use in some way. Right now I'm trying to get a lot of our use here. It's plus deciding where we're going to go next so far as our target. We could certainly make a big reservoir in this area. Yeah, that actually should be a pretty easy place to set up a reservoir. So the water source is up here. So that's where our next water source is. Okay, we could do some fun stuff with that. Yeah, so we get over there, it's going to dump over. I'm thinking, I think I did this the last time I played this map, I think we put a dam here to force this to flood the area. Because that should flood up to the point it starts going over this route. It'll fill up a good chunk of the map. Until I think it'll spill over here as the lowest point, and then it'll, drop down to this path and all that. So we're going to reroute the entire water on the map. It'll be great. This is going to be a major, major, major project. We're also going to need the tallest floodgates we can get to even make this useful. In the meantime, I think we just literally start slapping down levees. No, we'll leave it alone. We'll just try the largest floodgates, but we're gonna wait until we get our stuff built. Because right now we're hurting on our lumber and our planks because we just went absolutely ham without any consideration of anything. We'll increase priority on the oil press. Oh man, I need so many planks. Yeah, so we're gonna need way more planks than we've got. That's gonna be a bottleneck for a long time. So the way we work around that is by giving ourselves more mechanical power, i.e. these. Game seems nice. It's an excellent game. This is not the first time I played it. I played it a number of times. So we're gonna need a lot more of these compact wheels, but I also need places that the water flows to make them useful. Alright. Yeah, that's just it. I've got too many buildings currently using the power and not enough mileage getting around from. Okay, so it does consider that tile watered, even though it looks pretty barren. They're just waiting on material now. We've got another drought showing up in 1.2 days. But we have managed to completely refill our reservoir, so we're all good to go. As good as we're going to be. Our water tanks aren't getting as full as I would like them to, but I think that's actually a matter of not the water tanks or the pumps. We're going to need to build a hauling post soon. Okay, because the hauling post just basically gets a bunch of people that their only job is to run around and grab stuff and move it. And that way, you know, the person who's pumping the water here, they don't pump the water, run and move their one thing of water over there, pump their water, move the one thing of water over there. You have someone whose entire job is to just do the run back and forth so they can just pump the water constantly. Is there something I have to do with the mangrove? I should actually check. Can be eaten raw. Okay, cool. We're gonna get mangrove fruit. Because that'll be important on the short term. What other power sources do I have, by the way? So I have the large water wheel. Yeah, so large water wheel, that's 160 horsepower, and that's 40. Okay. So if I build a deep trough for that water wheel, that'll give us way more power. But I've got to make a deep trough for it. And then we can make engines, which are 400 horsepower once I've got metal. I can also... Oh, I forgot about this. Once you get metal, you can actually build a weight that basically uses horsepower during the day to lift the weight. And then when the water stops flowing, the weight slowly comes back down to, you know, give the horsepower back. You're using gravity as a power storage. Yes, I'm waiting until I see that the log supply starts actually getting properly backed up. Just like real life? Yep. And once I see this start building up the logs, I could literally just levy this off. It's a way less sophisticated way of dealing with this because it doesn't allow me to like raise and lower gates or anything like that. But if I do just wall it off until it overflows, eventually it'll overflow into my existing river area and over here. I do think that's a desirable outcome. Is basically just flood a huge chunk of the map. Because I have found in the past you have like giant areas of the map flooded. It just means you can go in there and use the levees to direct that water where you want it. And carve yourself out like farmland in the flooded area. So like, let's just pretend I literally filled all of this up to the top of water. I could sit there and build like a little box of levees around this area. And then this would be dry because we built a wall around it. It'd take a while to clear out, but yeah. Just like the Dutch? Oh, you're saying like the Dutch went into bodies of water and basically carved out areas using levees to give themselves like, you know, particularly good soil that's at the bottom of like a riverbed or a lake. There's other places in the world that have done that too. It definitely has its pros and cons. That's if anyone's ever been to New Orleans, New Orleans is that kind of place where it's like built in a bowl almost, that they put levees around that. Let's see, how deep does water need to be to survive? That is a very complicated question with a very complicated set of answers. And we are now starving. We ran out of food. Unrelated to the drought. But basically, the more beavers you have, the more water you have to deal with. The wider the area, the more evaporation you have. So, you know, it'll go away a little bit faster. It's like smaller, deeper areas make more progress than broader, shallower areas. So it's got a lot of wiggle to it. What is your total population? Right now, 38 beavers. So the big issue is right now the only food available to us is like literally the only food available to us at the moment would be berries, which we're not making nearly enough. So I could go over here and plop down a regular wheel, like a wheel that a hamster. I mean, yes, a hamster. Like the kind of wheel a hamster would run in. So I could do that here. So instead of where I got these two staircases here, we can go ahead and get rid of those for the time being. Yeah, because it probably won't need to be down there at all. And instead make it platforms across. And do the same here and go to this. And so you can supplement our power by having basically hamster wheels. The downside is that depends on planks, which I'm not going to get because I need power to do that, and I don't have power. So unfortunately, I've messed up, so we're probably going to have some beavers die. And I don't mean a small sum. You seem to really like growing canola in video games. I mean, it's available. I actually don't have, in real life, a strong opinion on canola one way or the other. I've had canola oil, it's fine. It's oil. That's what you typically use canola for. But the game does progressively get harder as it goes along. Your droughts get longer, and their time between droughts gets shorter. So water retention becomes more and more of a desperate issue. Now, we've actually got our water pretty square. It's just, unfortunately, with our water being so square, we haven't managed to keep up the rest. Hi.
Hi.
My beavers are starving.
Why?
Because I need water flowing to run my things for fermenting a bunch of my crops so they can be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in a drought.
Hi, Eonic. Hi, Polaria Star.
Because this looks like a nice place, huh?
Sure.
This is where we live.
It's
But
hectic looking.
well, that's because it got on 3 times speed or whatever it is.
Oh, Eonic.
But it's got your favorite thing. Farming. More than half of my land is dedicated to some form of farming.
When you said it has my favorite thing, I was hoping you were going to say...
I don't think pizza is your favorite thing.
I like pizza a lot.
You do like it a lot, but it's your favorite thing. I mean,
what else would be my favorite thing?
There's stuff like chocolate and ice cream and
like those
tacos.
Too. Yeah.
Oh, we're starting to have people die.
But those aren't pizza.
This is true. What's up?
Do you know what it's like to be married to me?
Yes, I think actually I'm probably the leading expert on that.
Yeah, you're a subject matter expert. Puppy.
What's up?
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? That didn't sound convincing. You were like...
Can you sell their furs? Who would I sell them to? In this world, there's only beavers.
Oh gosh, apparently being married to me is just like... Okay.
What?
You were just like... Is it just mediocre?
I missed that because
is
that
it
was...
adequate?
I'm happy to be married to you.
Oh, gosh. Hi, the very last Lardine.
Some beavers are heading to a faraway farm. Yeah. Nah.
No, not the farm.
Yeah.
Hi, Cyrus.
For those who don't know, this is a post-apocalyptic city builder game featuring sentient beavers. That this is Earth. Here is evidence of former humanity, underground ruins. You can actually find like what was cities. But, you know, I don't think they specify exactly what happened, so much as human beings kind of gown. I love you. What? Okay, yeah, that is good. It looks like a Stargate. All beavers go to heaven. You can never come back, Charlie. You can never come back. Man, that is a reference a whole lot of people aren't going to get. That was a animated movie from a real long time ago. It's good though. It's All Dogs Go to Heaven. If you didn't see what I did, as I switched our mangrove to no longer cut down any mangrove at all, you get the produce. That's what you do, is you get the produce, you don't worry about anything else. I think we might actually need another farmhouse. I think we do need our farmhouse. Hey, look, a beaver has died. So let's go up here. We're gonna clear some of this field. We can put 2 more farmhouses down. It's probably overkill. Yeah, no, it is a good movie. So we're still flooding a bit, but we're getting there. Food. Nothing. That is what food we have. Nothing. Yeah, so he's far off on the... So, these mangroves all the way on the edge. I can't quite farm that far, so those ones do go. And those ones, it won't matter. So we planted them for no reason, but that's okay. You just not growing them there? What's going on with that? Okay, sure, whatever. Okay. So we're still struggling on our food front. I've got to get that square soon, or we're in deep trouble. Because our beavers will continue to die of hunger. What's my favorite ship to dismantle in Shipbreaker? Oh, I don't really have a favorite. I do like some of the larger, like, I genuinely do like taking apart the really, really big ships in Shipbreaker and just, like, slowly working through them. Like, I'd rather do that than what I could knock out in one quick session. Just, I don't know, it feels like more of a meaningful task when you have, like, that kind of, situation. Oh, we've got plenty of wood. Alright, so the plan is to go down here and go levees, 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 levees. Oh, you're allowed to build from way up there? Okay. Sure. I'll pretend that makes sense. Here, I'll speed you up a little bit. This, when the game is over, DD talks about how she hates geckos. Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, like banter between the characters on the different ships. So the double whammy of this is we're losing beavers, and we require berries to have, like, get more beavers. So we're getting a double whammy here. We're pretty much waiting for this stuff to produce faster. And all I can do is kind of wait and hope for the best. We've got plenty of wood coming in, so we can at least have them building the levees over here. Oh, they're going to build those up? Okay, there's a problem with the setup. Alright, no, that's not going to work. Alright, that way they can build all the levees the whole way across, and this will give us access to more areas. But that's just something for them to do while we wait. You already realize that Season 11 of Futurama came out already? I didn't realize there was a Season 11 of Futurama happening at all. We're apparently out of water, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. How are we running out of water? Like, I don't think we had too many. I mean, we're getting pretty close to the point I need to build another one of those. I don't think we're anywhere near that, though. mean, if we are, we are. It's just something I gotta deal with. Okay, that would work. Just so much to build. Oh, no, don't build that spot. Don't build that spot. That spot's a mistake. Don't do that. But then we can go here and set up another water pump. All right. So imagine not have that many more dying from hunger right now, because we're on that fence. But we're waiting for the oil press to get the gears and planks it needs. We're waiting for a storage to get the planks it needs. We're waiting for all of this stuff to get the planks it needs. We're waiting for all of existence to get the planks it needs. We're waiting for this to get the planks it needs. You might be seeing a pattern in the problem we're running into right now. I mean, honestly, with the logs, I could literally just build the levees up the whole way to the top and go across. And it'd probably take less time. I'll make a guess. There's a need for more planks. Yeah, because the problem is this is the area producing planks. And while you can be like, oh, we'll build another place to make planks, the issue is that's not the problem. It's not getting enough power from the wheels here, which requires me to either reroute the water, which requires planks, or it requires me to get. I'm trying to build 2 of the wheels there, but they require to be put on platforms, which requires more planks. So there's that. And there's probably other ways I could solve it too. I'm just being a little bit stubborn about it. I could literally just throw down one of the buildings right there and put the hamster wheel thing next to it and just let it roll. But right now we're dealing with food woes, which, you know, that's not going to really help us with. Can you guide the water? Can you guide the water with levees? Yeah. So that's actually what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to try and make this go that way, so that I can have like a narrow canal for them to go through. So you put a bunch of water wheels along it. But it is... Oh, yeah. No, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff with the manipulating the water around. It's just something we gotta set up still. Because, yeah, I'll probably sit here and... It's going to take work, and I don't want to shut this down to start moving all the buildings over right now, because I need the planks for other things. Actually, let's go ahead and cancel that building for the moment. Get those supplies back out of it. Do I have storage for the gears? I don't, do I? Nope. So that means it's time to build another large warehouse. And with another large warehouse, for gears this time, that's more planks I need. Hey, Mishgander, how's it going? Yeah, so my thought is, if I could start to funnel this way, like this one over here was kind of in the way of what I want, but funnel this around that way, and then I'll try and like transition this to be up top, like some platforms over here or something like that. Like, honestly, I'll probably build it over... Well, no, because I'm gonna need the... Well, actually, no, I could put the wheels over here and have the shaft for the gearing to go around this way to attach to the buildings. And then we could have, like, all of our production over on this side where this river is that, you know, I don't actually need access to. But that's going to be a lot of work, and I got to get that moving. In the meantime, I need to get ahead of the food problem. Luckily, we still have 20 adult beavers for the moment, and we do have the breeding pods all filled, so we should start recovering. Let's see, you just checked. It's colder outside than inside your freezer, minus 25 degrees Celsius. Summer can't come soon enough. Yeah. So that's just wood there, so that should be good. Right, that's another thing that's going to help, is once I get the workplace up, because that's the thing that's hurting our production with the planks, is they make the plank, they have to walk it all the way over here. Which will fix some of that stuff once we start rearranging things, so then I can build the warehouse like right next to it, move our industry over into this area. Like build the industry on top of our reservoir. I just cannot seem to keep the food up. Our population's not as high as it was. A big part of that is because all of this here isn't making real progress yet. Alright, so that's now a priority building. So we've got more farmers harvesting. Who is it that gets the food out of the mangroves? We have both the forestry and the farmhouses here. The mangrove beavers? Well, there's not, as far as I can see, there's not a special thing there. Alright, reduce the priority of all these storage buildings. Because they eat up a lot of planks. A berry harvester is who does it. Well, there's my problem. Alright, in that case, we're going to move our berry harvesters. Yeah, no, they got it. Okay. Huh. That is not what I would have expected. So unset those two tiles. Actually, don't unset that tile. You're growing that. Instead unset this tile because I wouldn't be able to get up the stairs there. Go ahead and replant those. Let's see how the three farmhouses do. With one dedicated to planting, two to harvest. We'll see how it goes. It's already time for our next drought. We have not recovered our food since the last time, for anyone who's been keeping note. We have also not built hardly any of the things depending on planks, because we're still playing catch-up. So cool. All of that certainly going to help. Our water has not remotely recovered. I don't really get the water not recovering very well. Our population hasn't gone up that much. You're expecting snow in the morning? Oh, yeah, and especially if it's at like 30, that's no good, because when you're just barely below freezing, that's when you get the thing where like it snows and then it melts and it's like freezes again. It does the back and forth. That's always a bad time. Alright, just yank those things up. I don't want to wait on them. Yeah, so cover just about all, except that far edge there and that far edge there, which is totally fine. Okay, so with that, you are now high priority. And you two are deleted. I lied. Gotta have more berries up here. So you stay. That's fine. We can live with that. That's probably all we need. And our blueberry bush there. Yeah, that'll probably be what we need to cover, I think, because that'll allow us to get tons of mangroves in. And hopefully that'll ride out. Our water reservoir does have plenty of water in it. It's just the pumping itself is falling behind. But we are working on getting our pump built and installed. And we are working... Oh, good. We did get the workhouse in. So, now once we get the beavers in the workhouse... they'll start doing the hauling, which will give us a lot more efficiency for all the other beavers who are currently make one plank, run it to the other building, make one plank, run it to the other building kind of nonsense. Alright, I'll just finish this. One of the other things that's hurting us is so much is how long the droughts are getting. That's the thing's holding up our progress on our planks. Alright, let's just plan to start expanding this. Because if we sit here and wait, it'll be a whole thing. So I've unset these so I can go ahead and pull up that canola. And then we'll start routing the levees here. And we'll just try and get things set up as best we can. I do feel like this should be narrower though. I shouldn't go the entire well, man, four tiles probably fine. Because what I'll more than likely do is I'll more than likely get rid of the floodgates and this levee here. And just make a path across. And then we'll put our floodgates over here on the end once we're ready. But it's only once the other stuff's built and sorted. Alright. They should have twice as many beavers harvesting as seeding. So the harvesting beavers should be just handily ahead. What's the requirements for the large water wheel? The big thing is it needs to be deep enough water. That's the big issue, is the water isn't deep enough. I've got the science, but, like, the water needs to be 2 tiles deep. So, like, this is only 1 tile deep here. Like, for example, it should be able to be positioned there, but the water won't move here, so it doesn't do me any good. But if I build this up, and then later we start, bombing out the middle area, then I can, make that higher. But that'll be later. I might be able to put 1 big wheel right there, but the rest of it will be too shallow, and maybe a second one, like, over here might fit. but that'll be a difficult thing to make happen. And I can put more little water wheels, but I need to position them such that they actually do turn. That might actually be doable. I wonder if they would turn here. Actually, here. Let's go to where it's telling them to build all the stuff that are not going to get done anyways anytime soon. And instead, let's turn around and go. I want to see exactly which way the water flows, because I'm worried it's not going to flow where I need it. That might work. And it is just logs, so that should be okay. Oh, I don't actually need that platform there. I wasn't sure of them being able to reach that spot. Alright, so my hope is that'll give us a little bit more energy. It's still not a great position. But if it does anything, that's still something. It's one of those things that, like, the game doesn't have the idea of, like, maintenance or something like that you have to sustain. Alright. Oh, surprisingly they can actually reach all of that way out there. They're not getting hardly any of it done, though. But they will eventually. Oh! The reason they're not grabbing any more canola or any of that is all of the warehouses are full. That's why. All the warehouses are full, so I have nowhere to take those goods, so we gotta wait till... Okay, I understand. So good news, though, is this time, because now we've actually got people grabbing the mangrove stuff, we're doing really well on a lot of our food to just cover us over. Our water's doing okay. So we're fine for right now, so we just kind of need to ride this out until we get more planks in. But I'm going to do a combination of moving this to go over this way to give myself more manufacturing space to build on, more power. I'm going to start damming off this river to force it to go the other way around, which will either flood into this area and just add to this water supply, or flood most of this area over here, which will take a while. But we'll work on it. But we will end up needing to make some much deeper reservoirs to work with. We'll also want to get... Let's actually go and grab it now. Well, actually, no, it requires metal. That's the reason I didn't grab it already. I keep running into stuff that I need metal to be able to do it. So one thing we can do is get the thing for getting scrap metal. Like, you can't use it yet. But, where is the nearest scrap metal node for us? There. That's pretty close. That's also pretty close. Relatively speaking. It's not too shabby there. You could literally build a path down and across to this area. Now, problem would be food and all that way out here would be a pain. So I'd have to build some housing and all that over here somewhere. Okay. And that'd be for later to worry about. Don't do it this way, we'll just do it this way. That's a way down the road. We could just be surprised when one day it's done. Alright, so we're out of the drought again, so pretty soon our water will get moving again. But yeah, so we're gonna need a lot of power storage for our machines using the weights in time. Which I believe those work with height. So I believe I could actually build one of those like hanging off this way to drag the thing up here and get a lot of mileage out of it, so these sheer cliffs should work to our advantage. I think there's a limit on how far it can go up and down, but we can figure that out when we get there. Yeah, getting those mangroves actually producing food is a thing. Trailmaker's got an update recently. I don't know that one. Alright, so for the moment, those are all blasting at absolute max speed. But that's just with the flood starting. It should level out. No beavers working here? But oh, I put more oh, well, you didn't... Did you go to workers? Where... I don't understand. It's fine. Slightly increase that. That fermenter is extremely low. The gears will be a slight reduction. Okay, so they are getting maximum power. So that's actually working really, really well. They added a space update. Gotcha. You build your own vehicles out of like Lego block looking things? Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Hey, Slick CD, on your 5-stream streak. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in. It does mean a lot that you'd catch every stream, so I appreciate that. And I said, seriously, last year we got a nice cold snap in May. It killed some crops and food prices went up. Weather is so unpredictable these days. Yup. Alright, so they are getting stuff built, so that's good news. We are getting planks to happen. So we're definitely, our Kasva's outproducing the rate we can ferment it. But I am hoping we can stabilize our food, get all that sort of stuff situated. I mean, right now we're waiting on planks to catch up. That's the big issue, is we have spent deeply on our planks, and we just gotta wait for that to happen. A big part of that is I went right to building the really big warehouses. But you spent 6 hours troubleshooting your mod list, only to find out that none of them were causing the game to break. Either the game or your PC. That's no fun. Alright, go ahead and uproot those. Because we'll just keep working on adjusting our water path. Not exactly what I had in mind, but it does serve the purpose, so, you know, sure. Okay. I believe that'll be enough for us to put the big water wheel here. That's a low priority. Because that's going to be our first step up to raising everything off of that area. But that'll require me to, like, build a fermenter, move it up here, get rid of the other fermenter, that kind of thing. The population is recovering, so that's good news. Yeah, so you can't reach those. So you're basically here to handle trees. We're just not getting the full value out of you. Honestly, this one's not needed here anymore. Because we're not cutting down these trees, we're just replanting them. So this place, that can go now. Your services are no longer required, thank you. And you can become more blueberries for this one to deal with. And that just gives me an arbor I could go put somewhere else. And we can go to destroy buildings. Demolish that. This will end up being in our levee. With another path. And that's as far as I can go with rerouting the levees on this side until we start getting the other side sorted. Yeah, so I think I'm only going to be able to fit the large water wheel there until we get TNT to start detonating this to make it deeper. That'll be the only spot it'll work. But then we'll start putting, you know, a bunch of platforms in here to build up on top of. Then probably make a road there. This will all go away because we'll have rerouted everything. Oh good, the first of the warehouses are built. Getting there little by little. And the good news is once I build all these warehouses, they'll last us a very long time. Oh yeah, we want to build the mushroom warehouse. I'm not going to need that, am I? Not for a while. Okay. So congratulations. You're now the gear warehouse. And you're gone. And then you are the fermented final product of the soy. That'll save us a bunch more planks I gotta make. Because we were going to go for the hydroponic mushrooms, they realized they needed metal. I already spent the research on it. Like, the research we've got just flying along. So there's the smelter we would need. Not worry about that right now. We're slowly going to be building out over here to start collecting metal scrap. But we're a ways before we're going to be able to reach that, unfortunately. Oh, one of the other things we should go ahead and unlock while we're waiting is storage. When I hit 120, let's go for the medium water tanks. We can start getting rid of these little teeny tiny ones, well, the medium liquid tanks. And get rid of the really teeny tiny ones, start putting the bigger ones in, because they'll go way farther than the ones we have. You don't know what normal is for y'all. The last several years, winter has been fairly close to normal here. With the first snow coming in November. Yeah, it depends on where you're at on how much climate change really affects you. Like, for those of us here in Florida, we actually get affected way worse than most of the rest of the world. Not exclusively, there's other parts that also get hit by... I should say, we get hit worse than most of the U.S. Generally speaking, when it comes to the U.S. and how climate change is impacting it, if you are on the East Coast, you get impacted far more than on the West Coast. Just the nature of cold currents coming through versus hot currents coming through and how that's impacting. So we've had far less consistent weather is what we've got going on. Like, I would say, depending on El Nino or El Niña, we are having much colder or much warmer winters. I shouldn't say much colder. More broadly cool than actually colder. Less extremes, but more duration and all that. And just you broke records or most things. Yeah. Also, middle of the country, U.S. Those are the ones that are just getting hit by flat higher temperature being the big thing that we're seeing there more, just creeping up a couple degrees here and there. It's just been one of those things that if we kept a world record for the number of world records we set in a year, that would be a thing we have to worry about. Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me. I imagine because so when I'm talking about the rotation of the currents and all that, if you ever look at like the globe and how water ends up moving around, it moves in circles. So you have like the Atlantic Ocean, like it goes from up north down and around towards the equator, then comes up the east coast of the U.S. and then it repeats that. On the west coast, you know, it's that same rotation, but because they're on the side that's coming from like the Arctic side coming down. The Pacific Ocean along the coast of the U.S. is much cooler water, so they're less directly impacted because that cooler water, you know, with rising temperatures and all that, that's the area that's going to be less of an impact. So when you go to south equator, the rotation is the opposite direction. So I imagine West Coast Brazil or West Coast South American continent would be the side being more impacted, where the East Coast South American continent would be less impacted. That said, generally speaking, the southern hemisphere is warmer than the northern hemisphere in a very broad statement. I would imagine Brazil is probably, being on that west coast, more impacted than Florida just by the nature of the fact that the southern hemisphere is warmer. I don't know that for a fact, but that would make sense to me. Just waiting patiently on those planks. Alright, so we've almost got the second place built up storage. We're starting to just mass supply our reserves of food for processing. That is what it is. Oh yeah, no, I mean, that's the way most conversations go, like in person, on chat, or anything. Someone will make a comment, which will split that off into a thread that a bunch of people have interests in, or information, or feedback, or commentary, and it can be a complete nothing comment that doesn't align with anything significant. But it does spin off another whole conversation. Streets Mage says, between 2000 and 2015, you had a drought at higher temperatures. 1 year later, your birthday, we tied the state record for the highest record at 118. After 2015, it changes, but generally cooler on average during the summer. Goes to normal winter. Also, drought conditions are now gone. Yeah. The UK, you've been having much warmer winters. Yeah, that's the thing, that you'll have people in different regions will be like, I don't know, people keep talking about this climate change, and I haven't been seeing any meaningful differences. It's just as cold as it's ever been. Different places are being differently impacted. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, there are places that are genuinely getting colder temperatures, and that has to do, for example, if you're someplace where the water's coming from the Arctic, or the Antarctic would probably be the same, but my knowledge being more along the Arctic, the permafrost thawing actually does a really significant amount for temporarily cooling. So if you're the ones getting the first dosage of that water, a lot of times you're going to have much colder weather as the world on average is getting warmer. The downside is that's the permafrost melting. When it's gone, it takes forever to come back, and we're not giving it forever. So it is one of those things that overall the total cumulative population of the world is going up, but there are some select areas that are actually experiencing a reduction in temperature just because of how all the cycles work. And I am not an expert on who, what, where is going to be impacted, who, what, how. It could also be that, like, an area doesn't necessarily distinctly go up or down so much as the weather conditions get to be a bit more extreme. That your summers are a little bit hotter, but then your winters are also a little bit colder. It's almost like it's a very complicated thing. But then when people use that as a way of downplaying it, the thing you gotta go is, hey, we're supposed to be on the cooling cycle. Like, we're not on the warming part, we're on the cooling cycle right now. And we're getting hotter during the time of year in the world cycle it's supposed to get cooler. So, it's not business as usual. Which, we're not going to get into all doom and gloom on that, but it's just, you know, climate change is real. If you don't think it is, I mean, honestly, that's just willful ignorance at this point. Like, in the past, there's enough competing information and all that, sure. But now, even staunch holdouts, for the most part, are accepting it's real. They're just arguing why it's happening. And also curb the argument where people's like, oh, it's just scientists trying to make money. You want a pro tip? Do you want to make scientists way more money than saying humanity is causing global climate change? To say, we don't know why global climate change is happening. Because that's far scarier. Because what do you do? That's where you get all that research money. Here's hoping the post-apocalyptic beavers fix stuff for us. I mean, that's the implication. You think part of it here is that you are so far from the ocean that we don't really see the changes nearly as much as some other places do? Yeah. The ocean definitely plays a big part in everything. Like, certainly. But I do know some of the places that are like middle of nowhere desert have just been getting hotter temperatures than normal. Because there's no like, certain things could operate as effectively heat sinks, that you get all that extra heat, but it's absorbed by certain things, so you're still getting it, it just, you don't get the significant impact all at once. So places like the Sahara Desert and all that have been setting all sorts of records, because it's sand. It's sand and scraggly bushes. That's what lives there. So it gets super cold at night and super hot during the day, but the hotters are getting hotter. I have no idea about the colds. Dear Planks, please arrive. Alright, so we're starting to store canola seeds. We've almost got enough for a third warehouse, and then we should start getting some proper surplus planks to be building more things. I do think once we manage to get the giant water wheel set up, that's when we start doing our move over of things over here. Because what I could do is this water wheel is going to be placed here. I'm half tempted to try and pipe. Does this tell me, does it have a limit on these? It just says transfers power. It doesn't imply there's a limit. So once we build that, I'm probably going to say, forget this road over here entirely. And we just build a pipe to go, like a bar to like pipe the power over here. And we just put our industry on this part. And then we can just start dumping all of our water wheels over here. Because we should have a very strong flow of water through that area. The downside of this is it's going to take some work because this is all going to have to be platformed off. Anywhere we're not doing our stuff is going to have to be platformed off. Oh, you can probably forget that. That spot too. Actually, Honestly, for the water wheel to be worthwhile, I have to get all hooked up anyway, so I don't think there's any rush like that. This, I think, is going to be turned into platforms here. We're going to straight up get rid of those floodgates once we get this over here. Honestly, I'll probably just keep those as dams for right now. Eventually, we'll want to swap those off. Like, I'll wall this off. We can switch it to floodgates. Because I could also see, with this having worked, eventually going through, building up a higher wall around here, bringing the water level up. But we'll probably bring it up like 2 at a time or something like that, if we go that route. That may never happen. Because we might just find other place we'd rather store the water and deal with. Alright, too many macro scale projects. Oh, need to stretch. My apologies. Okay. What are you doing up there? Close to ruins? Oh, the plan isn't going to make a path. These 2 buildings here will let us collect the metal from the ruins, and then we will use that metal to turn, well, the scrap metal, to turn it into, like, metal bars or whatever, to then be able to build new and better buildings. But it's a thing that I don't really have access to anywhere nearby, and I'm not going to be able to get too soon. So we're just going to do our best to take advantage of it once we can. All right. Oh yeah, no, you're all good. Making me stretch is a good thing. I'm actually sitting very comfortable right now. So like my shoulders aren't in a bad position at the moment, but it's a thing to stop doing. Like one thing that's happening is like my chair keeps sinking in. I need to adjust it. Like this chair I've had for a number of years now. It's probably due to be replaced. The seat of it's definitely seen better days. Getting all shredded up. But I definitely know for my next chair, I'm not getting another gamer style chair. Like, I mostly have stuck to like office style chairs for the longest time, because you know they tend to work out really well. I don't remember why, but I was like, you know, before streaming, I was like, you know what? Like I've heard all these things. Let me go ahead and get one of these. Like it was a specific brand of gamer chair, and I ended up hating it. It was the worst chair I've ever owned. So it's still in the other room. I'll just say it's a DX Racer. So it's still in the other room kind of thing. Because, like, I can't stand this chair. It's uncomfortable. Like, you can feel, like, really pinch on the back of your legs and everything. So it's like, this is just a really, like, objectively a bad chair. So I got rid of that. And I did a bunch more research after that to, like, try and get a better chair. Which is where I got this Muso. Which this is a chair for people who are either... They're large in stature one way or the other. I'm not a particularly wide person, but I am a tall person. So this chair is much more comfortable than most, like, other type of chairs and all that. And it comes with, like, the lumbar support thing and everything. But even this chair, like, I'd still say it's okay to good. But again, I've had office chairs that are, like, really comfortable. They're good. You can sit in there, like, all day and not feel uncomfortable, like super well padded and all that. So I've come to accept that, you know, the office style chairs are just better for duration, which makes sense. Offices, they're going to put a whole lot of money into making sure you can sit in that chair and be productive all day because they make money on that. And so I'm gonna for my next chair go back to that style of chair. And while sure, I would absolutely love like a really nice Herman Miller or something, but those chairs are buku bucks. I feel your pain as also someone who is very tall. I know it can be difficult to find a good chair. Yeah, so I will say I don't regret this chair. This is a Muso, and it literally is made for people who are tall, you know, big and or tall. And I've been pretty content with it. It's just I've had it for a while, and the seat do be wearing out. It's this faux leather material that they make so many of these chairs out of that just cracks up and starts ripping after a while. Which isn't me being like, oh, you need to get leather or whatever. It's just this particular, like, plastic leather stuff that so many people use, the pleather material, is not the best. Honestly, I think the chair I had that I was the happiest with, and like where I've had to sit for a long time in an office, it was like just a fabric mesh, like with holes in it. Like it was just straight up a fabric mesh, and it seemed like the chair that would just disintegrate more than anything else. And that chair held up the entire time I worked that job. Like never really showed its age outside, like, you know, the occasional like little scuff marks on the arms were about as bad as it got. And I, like, when we first got there, like, this poor chair is not going to last a year, and it held up well. I don't know what brand it was. It wasn't, like, a Herman Miller, I think, quite that fancy. But, yeah, those fabric mesh chairs are surprisingly long-lasting. Alright. So we've got our warehouses built, finally. So we'll start storing our gears and all that. That does mean they should be getting a lot of these platforms built. I'm going to let them start getting this water wheel built. I'm going to put that actually as a neutral priority now versus I was trying, because it's just so many planks are going to go into that. I was telling them to not bother until they got there. But we're now at the point where I want them to build that, because what's going to happen is once we get that built, I'm going to tear this out and I'll start, you know, piping. You can use these like little angles and all that to take power from one area to another. I'm gonna make a little bar that's gonna bring the power around to this side, and we'll start putting all our industry out here. I should also probably start getting the platforms in place.
Take a sip. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I mean, these are a bit better on your efficiency for platforms. Yeah, so go ahead and do this so we can get around that. Wait a second. Why am I doing that? Don't do this. The reason why I don't need to do this is what's going to end up happening here. What's going to end up happening here is I'm going to get rid of these here and just make those into dams that you can walk over the top of. Because once I've got that set up, I don't even need these gates. Honestly, like, this levee can probably go too and become... You know, that levee could just go right now, actually. No, it can't. Don't do that. But why do I have a levee here? I mean, other than to build the gates. Why do I have the gates here for that? Well, oh no, they're gates because of the wheels. That's right. Don't get rid of the levee yet. Don't get rid of the levee yet. Once we get the water wheel and stuff moved, then all this can go away. And it'll just be levees on the bottom part, dams in the top part. Which will retain the water back here and all that. But why, though? Yeah, exactly, back. It's like, but why, though? It's like, why did I do that? Nah, it's, the reason we have this here is this is actually a tile lower than this area up here. And if I were to do that, it would flood this, and all of this would turn off and be flooded. So that's why these are the way they're set up there. Once we go and we carve this path and we raise that up, because we're going to go ahead and make this one tile higher. Then, once I have that, then all this can go away. It becomes a flow out this way. We can start putting all our wheels in here and all that nonsense. Ooh, sorry. And our planks are coming back in. And are getting that route built over there little by little. We're going to slowly block off this river and send it going the opposite direction, which will flood all of this here. All of this here. It'll spill over to this area, fill in that, go down here, go through here, and it will, I don't know if it'll get over this or not. It's going to either end around here, at which point then it will boil over to... I don't know where it'll end up. It'll either get over this wall, get over this wall, maybe this one, or it'll spill into this area, which reaches the edge. I think it'll actually spill over into this area, which reaches the edge of the map, so that's where it'll ultimately go away. But we're going to fill up a huge chunk of the map with water very gradually this way. But the first step is to block that river, which is going to cut off water to all of these plants over here and all of this area. The good news is I'm dumping water in here already, so that should backfill to here. So we're only going to be losing this section here. Otherwise, all the rest of this will get filled, and that'll be normal. So we're just basically making a giant reservoir out of that. But that's going to take some time. We are starting to get our gear supply up. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. And with that, we are starting to have... What's a small one? Oh. Oh, interesting. We are starting to get our log supply full, so let's just go ahead and plan to expand that. Because figure, if we're maxing them out, keep getting more. Why not? You'll need more housing soon? Yeah, so we should be able to house 40. I'm pretty sure with these 4 vats, I shouldn't exceed the amount of population I need right now. I'm actually surprised we don't have... Yeah, because it's seven per each of these per lifespan. So that should be what, like 7 times 4, 28? No, that's not right. 32. I'm actually over that population. Is that right? That doesn't feel right. So 7 times 3 is 21, times 4 is 28. Yes, that's right. So it is... I must have incorrect information then. Because I shouldn't be able to reach 38 beavers on just those 4 tanks. Huh. That's okay. Because I do remember that's one of the things you get yourself in lots of trouble in this is just... Can you bomb the British, please? That's... No, that's not relevant to anything here? What? I didn't see. Was that first time chatter? Because that's the kind of thing with first time chatter is like, but why would you say that? Hopefully I didn't miss some like major event that happened in real life where some awful tragedy happened. This is someone being a troll about it. Because it feels like that kind of thing. It gives me that kind of a vibe that there's some event I'm missing that someone's being awful about, but I don't know. New account? Gotcha. New account? Yeah, if it's a new account, that's the first thing they post. Gone. That's someone just trolling. Yeah, in a brand new account, and that's the first thing they do is pop out is talking about bombing someplace. Yeah, what? Like, they might just think they're being silly, but, why? What? Oh, the wheel's there. Yes. We have power. And with that power, it's time to start getting the other stuff. You know, I honestly feel like making levees is cheaper than doing the platforms in a lot of ways. Because, like, sure, it costs more in total materials, but it's just straight up wood. As opposed to processed planks and everything. Alright, so we start by getting the corner there. Hey, like the map? Welcome to Lawnarama. Have you played Timberborn? I think you have, right? I'm not wrong about that. But for those who don't know Lawnarama, absolutely a fantastic content creator on the platform. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Definitely worth checking out. Play a lot of RimWorld among other games, so definitely if hey, that's your jam, check them out. Let's see, the occasional other game? Nice. Yeah, no, this map I like, because there's a challenge of the fact that the water source is like right here. So you have to make your buffer right here. You can't fall back and like the water up the area. 50 yards at least? Oh, good. Cool. I hear tell they are doing a dare drop for Timberborn later this month. I only found out after I started this run yesterday, but I do hear tell that's a thing that's coming. So, if it is a game you like to jump into, there's the possibility of that being a thing. No idea what the rewards are going to be. Hopefully they're not lame, because that's always the thing you got to worry about with the dare drops, is sometimes the rewards are just really disappointing. Oh, I was hoping I could just build... Alright, never mind. I was hoping I could build just, like, the step to go over here. We could ultimately build it over the other side, that's fine. I was just gonna build, like, a ramp over top of the wheel, and then, you know, we could continue the process of rejiggering our levees over here. Yeah, so this water wheel right now is producing almost the exact same amount of horsepower, actually a little bit more horsepower, than all 5 of these together. Gotcha. Yeah, we won't know what the actual options are until it's about time to start it. Oh, good. We've gotten across enough that okay, that's fine, I guess. I was hoping they would cut down these trees, but, you know, that's fine, too. You know, actually, those trees don't matter. Like me, I don't like making a zigzag roadway here. But, to be fair, it doesn't actually negatively impact their route. So that's fine. We making planks? We are making planks. Which is good, because I'm using levees to build this up as opposed to platforms, because I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's not going to cut into our water supply. The levees effectively cost me less materials, so... less complicated materials, I guess I should say. But yeah, no, there's been a lot of exciting dare drops. I mentioned earlier in the stream that they're calling it the Survival January dare drop thing. That's like it took effect immediately upon them putting it on there. That we will be doing during the coming month. I haven't got days set or anything, but it includes like Product Zomboid, 7 Days to Die, Lethal Company, Minecraft, Valheim, a couple. I think there's like one called the Finalists or Finals or something. I don't really know. But for the games that like we have played on the channel or are aligned with the channel, I'll probably be playing a bunch of those. Because the rewards for those ones are gift cards I can give out to the community. And, like, for Product Zomboid, if I survive 30 days, that's a $100 gift card I give to the community. Do you know what's really easy for me to do? Survive 30 days. That is not a big investment for me. And I am absolutely down if there's other creators going, oh man, I've tried so hard to do this, but it's really a struggle. It's like, nah, we can get you there. You play it safe. we will get your community a $100 gift card. So anyone, like, any of the content creators in, like, the circles I'm in who want to collab on that, I am down to make that happen. It'll take you, for that $100 one, it'll take you about 15 or so hours. Most of the other ones are much faster than that. Hey, look, we finally got the other water pump. Now that I feel like I don't particularly need it, but that's fine. Ah, we're finally out of housing. Okay. So, if we were to go for the biggest housing, I can't afford it. Oh man, it's still just wood? Okay, hear me out. Ah, it's just smaller footprint. It's probably more efficient in space and all that. So the large barrack, that's fine. We can just go like this and this and not have to worry about it for a while. But yeah, like some of the ones I saw were that with the Project Zomboid, there was one was to raid or ransack or something. It was like the achievement is called martial law, which is go to the police department, loot it of a bunch of guns and all. That's like, man, if you know what you're doing in Project Zomboid and you don't want to put on sweaty settings, you can have that done in an hour. It's how fast can you get in a vehicle and get to the police department on regular apocalypse settings. You could do that because it doesn't even say you have to survive the experience. But you can go in there, defeat the handful of zombies inside a police department. Because it also says the police department, which there's like 5 of them in the game. So if you target like West Point or Louisville, yeah, it's going to be a hard, difficult time. Rosewood's kind of like that. It's in the middle. And then you have like, for example, Riverside or like Fallis. You can practically walk in without killing a zombie. You know, you just got to worry about getting cornered in the back room, grab 1 or 2 things and leave, and you've ransacked it. There was one on there I haven't done, which is I would be required to kill a horde of at least 10 zombies with using only a Molotov. It's like, okay, that's not really that hard. I've never done it, but all I need to do is get a lighter, a strip of cloth, and liquor, which are all very easily acquired in the game. You just go to a liquor store, you've got all 3. And then just start mashing Q to get a really big group and just hit the middle of them. And then walk in a circle for a while. But yeah, now I'm thinking the way I'm going to do that is when we start doing those kind of streams. If I collab with people, I'll collab them and we'll set up with the collab. If it's something I'm doing kind of on my own, like solo, I'll just plan like half a stream, just knock out an entire game's worth of challenges as best we can. Like I said, the Project Zomboid one will probably take me 3-4 streams. That's not a big deal. I'm sure people would be very upset by me playing Project Zomboid. I know we played a bunch of the channel, and you never want to see it again. I hear you. But this is to give you literal money. And for those who aren't reading between the lines, I am being absurdly sarcastic in that comment. Metal storage is full? Oh, hey. Okay, I missed that. I was not actually expecting them to get there that fast. So we need to build the smelter. That might end up being one of the first buildings we build over here. Okay. So, in the meantime, we're going to start getting a bunch of spare planks. So we are going to build... I don't know which one you go in. You go in that one. Okay. So with that, we're going to build this large storage here. Oh, and we're not being at all efficient, by the way. Like, with the way I've been designing this, if you're worried about, it's like, hey, streamer, did you know you can be more efficient doing this? Probably not. But also, I actually don't care. I just want to build up because it's fun. Yeah, so what we'll do here is we'll go this path here, do that there. Like, you know, I could rotate the buildings to face this way, and I could save myself time and money, or time and materials, but I'm not gonna. Because I like them facing the same ways. Oh, I have to actually put paths on there. It does actually help a lot. Cool. We've got our extra housing, we've got all that. Oh, right, it's gonna unlock the increased water storage. Queue that up. What are you complaining about? You're complaining about food, which I have plenty. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. We are going to need even more food, which should be coming soon, because right now I've got tons of stuff here, and they're just not being processed enough, which should improve as we get over here and all this stuff squared away. I just realized you can't reach that corner. Huh. Okay, well, let's just start getting the platforms built here. So platform there. Platforms here and here. For right now, I'm going to make a path there. I do ultimately plan to get rid of these and just make the path come straight across. You know what? It's fine. We can leave the path there. Because what we can do here... Because this I do want to use platforms as opposed to the levees. That way it can still store water. We want to go here and say, yes, not that. Yes, I would like to have the smelter. Thank you. Actually, I can put that over here, because I don't really need a path over there, do I? And that'll also save me, like, 1 unit of the other stuff. So we can go here and go to our metal production, get you situated there. And that'll be the beginning of our metal production. Now, obviously, none of that's going to work until I get these swapped out. But that's going to take me a hot minute. But once we get that path going over here, I can start building out more of my, my various industries. I'm suddenly realizing none of the storage should be over here. It's fine. It can live there for now. We'll figure that out to make it more efficient to have like all the metal storage like right there and you know whatever other goods. But we're gonna be basically building our production, our industrial production over along this area. Let's see what the parts of the map are still full of water. Yeah, so we've got this giant reservoir we've effectively created down here by levying that off. Got a spot over here. We got another giant reservoir we've made over here by going to that spot as well. And I doubt I had enough time to flood up to get over these other areas. And I think one of our first investments we're gonna do once we've got metal actually properly coming in is I'm gonna get the weights here. Because that's those things I can just plop a bunch of weights along here to give ourselves effectively power storage, mechanical power storage. And our plan will be bring this up here, bring it across there. All this will go away and it'll be over here. I'm gonna make the not smart decision of just continuing to expand all this. The reason it's not smart is I'm doing it now before I have other projects done. Okay, so we'll set that building up. Alright, Mackin, you have a good one. Thanks for dropping in. So that faces that way. Okay. That'll be those two handled. And then we'll need the 2 fermenters. So I want to make sure I leave myself enough room to run the gearing back here and all that kind of stuff. And go here. Put the power between those. Put a platform there and there. The path will go around this way. Oh, that is much taller than I thought it was. Let's not do that. I was like, that won't be that bad. I'll just have to, like, build little platforms. Like, oh, that's, like, 10 platforms tall. Let's not do that. So we can go over here. Well, actually, wait a second. I don't need to... Yeah, no, I need to... Let's just scooch the buildings over by 1. That'll work. If I scooch the buildings over by 1, so over here... and here, and then we put the gear there. That'll run this way. I still have the same problem because I can't sneak around it. I could also get rid of this entirely. And I believe we have... the oil press can work as our connection. I can deal with this. This won't be a problem. So what I could do here is... get rid of that. Put the bar there. And then we can go and put a path over that. Down here. Bring this here. Go to that spot. Do this. And that, once that's all done, all of this is built. It also leaves me a tile here if I want to put down, like, the place for them to sharpen their teeth or whatever. Alright. Yeah, so our collection of the steel is very inefficient. That's okay. That's a limited supply. I'm not going to put a huge amount of effort into making that better. When we get down to areas like over here where we have the underground road, that's where we have to, like, really consider the efficiency of our production. Because that'll be a huge problem otherwise. Yeah, so we should start building all of that soon. Which all that'll also help out with the flooding problem we have here when the season changes. Our food is getting scarce. I haven't made another one of these, so I was told each of these gives me about 7 beavers per lifespan kind of thing, so it would lock us in at, like, 32 or whatever, and we're sitting at almost 48. We're sitting at 48. What am I talking about? Not almost. We're sitting at 48, so our food is getting out of control now. And that was unanticipated. Why are you doing nothing right now? Put you on neutral, first of all. Oh, there's no oil press. That's right. We're going to build the oil press here, and then we opted to get rid of it. So literally, you serve no function, so just get out of here. Yeah, but we're waiting on planks, per the usual. Yeah, so food's gonna start getting to be a real problem real soon. We need our population to not be continuing to go up. And you're getting built over here. You're also waiting on planks. It's actually what they're working on right now. That'll be good, because that'll store way more water than these little ones do. By a factor of 10. Alright. So good selected. Water. If you see someone on Twitch named ThinkMacken1, ban them. Okay. I don't arbitrarily ban people. Like, I'm not gonna ban someone because someone says ban them. Unless I, like, really, really know and trust the person asking me. Like, if it's, you know, someone who's a close friend of the channel, like, yeah, this person causes, like, all sorts of drama, here's what they did. Well, Malkin, you on TikTok, I would say if this person pops in and it's your laptop and your brother does something on Twitch that causes trouble that I need to ban them, I'll probably also kick you off of TikTok, because I'm just going to assume it's you. Because also keeping your stuff under control is kind of on you as well. So just letting you know, if it's you going to be teasing around and all that, I will bump on both of them. Because I'll just assume they're the same account, since that's basically what you've confirmed. So think it through. You've acquired a poison dart frog? That's neat. Alright, so we should be getting our power here. That's actually important. So let's make sure we set this building to low priority first. Because if we don't get this... Okay, they're going to get that done. If we don't get that done first, then we're going to have problems because the power wouldn't get through. Don't lick it? Yes. Yeah, like that's kind of a thing, just for contextually, for those who are on the R platforms, that basically we had someone saying, hey, like, make sure you ban this person on the R platform. It's my brother's gonna hop on my, like, is hopping on my laptop and causing problems. And I made the comment that basically, you know, it's, if it's your equipment, it's your responsibility to make sure it's not misused, whatever. That's actually how I feel. Like, if I pop on here and, like, someone starts spouting off racist stuff, and the next day it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, my brother got on, I'm gonna be like, hey, look, man. One, I don't know if that's true. Like, if someone's been around for a very long time, I might be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, alright, here's the deal, it can't happen again. But, like, it's one of those things, like, that's like an excuse people use to get around. It's like, oh, no. So, like, this other person grabbed at that kind of thing. Like, it's like, well, it's still your responsibility to make sure your stuff is... Like, don't let people log into your stuff. Don't let them use their stuff. Obviously, with siblings, it can be a pain in the butt where siblings don't always do what they're supposed to and all that. But, you know, as the person who is now, you know, would be dealing with the fallout and all that... Yeah, no, it's all good, Mackin. It's just one of those things that, like, it is whoever is the person who owns the account, it's on them to ensure their account is not misused. How many different chat streams am I currently following and interacting with? At any given time, I'm on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, and that's been that way for a while now. Primarily, like 99% of the audience is on Twitch, so I usually am the best at keeping up with that one. It is a thing that actually I am guilty for, that, you know, I get the least chatter, for example, on YouTube, that sometimes someone will say something on YouTube and I won't notice it for a while, and it's not that I'm trying to ignore it, it's just because almost no one talks there, you fall out of habit of, like, where you're going, okay, check here, check here, check here, check here, like that. You end up missing that one because there's nothing there. It is a thing that I'm doing that for a variety of reasons. One, to diversify my audience as much as possible, because if Twitch were to pass some awful policy, you know, tomorrow, and it's like, well, crap, the Switch thing is done. You know, if I have an audience in a lot more places, it makes it a little bit easier to be like, okay, we're going over here now. Not that I expect that to be a thing, but we've had a lot of upsets on various platforms this past year that have led to a lot of people leaving a lot of different spaces, so, you know, always be prepared. And all that kind of good stuff. You can go and get rid of that path. And then on top of that, you know, there's lots of cross-pollination that as I put more stuff on YouTube, it's led more people from YouTube to Twitch, and vice versa, and that kind of stuff. That it's just beneficial. It was, the thing was, we couldn't do this before this past year. It was just not allowed, but now it is. Alright, so we are now going to start getting actual metal. Now, as old school nerd who grew up with a mantra that is, it is stupid to use real names online. I don't interact in any way on YouTube. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Like, that's, the different platforms have different things to think. Mike says, he'd figured out the password. What I was worried about is he got your laptop locked for 30 minutes, though. Gotcha. Well, if he's figured out your password, it's time to change your password. Like, the moment someone figures out your password, the absolute moment you get a chance to change it, you do. Oh, he didn't figure out. Okay. Alright, so we've got our giant water tank here of 300 water. Time to change your brother. As someone who has two brothers, while I don't wish I had done that at this point in my life, there was definitely times growing up. You know, there's times you're less fan of siblings than others. Let's see, did you know that you can renew your driver's license online at this rate? I'll never need to put your pants on again. So, yes and no. You can do, like, your regular renewal, but they'll have it where, like, every once in a while you have to go in. So, like, they started, I forget what the heck they call it. It's this garbage. What do they call it? Like, Real ID. Even though, like, everything was in good standings and they were already allowing you to renew stuff online for us, they're like, no, you need to show up at the DMV. You need a birth certificate. You need, like, a utility bill for your home address. You need, like, they had... It was one of these things that they, like, had to use, like, you need an original copy of your birth certificate. It cannot be a copy. It has to be an original from the place, you know, and all that. And I was, like, walking into the DMV holding this, like, folder going, if someone steals this from me, they will be more capable of proving themselves as me than I am. This is stupid. I was really livid about it at this situation. Like, why are you making myself... Like, and especially people want to commit identity theft, and it's like, now you know exactly where to go. Just catch people outside the DMV. Sure, that means you have to physically be present, which adds a level of risk for you, and yada yada yada. But... holy crap. That was definitely not a thought-through thing for them. The answer is they don't care. Like, that's not the point. So let's go ahead. There's something else that's gonna grab. Okay, let's grab the triple floodgate, because we'll want that. I don't remember what else we're saving for. No recipe selected. So you're going to ferment Casa of whatever when we get there. We've got the thing for making planks. Not their monkey, not their surfing. Beavers need baths? They will. I'm gonna actually start setting that up stuff here in a little bit. Right now I'm more focused on moving our production from up here to down there, so I can, you know, reroute this whole levee thing here to have like a whole bunch of horsepower I can just channel through here. Because these don't run nearly as consistently. Okay. So our gear building can go away now. Because I've got these all hooked up here. Oh, I didn't actually need to do it. It's fine. It's too late to take it back. That'd be really nice. If we can finish this this building here while the drought is going on. Let me do that thing. Maybe you're in Twitch stream with the Think Mackin. All danger averted. I appreciate that. You are the fermented soybeans. As soon as the building's built, we'll have all that hooked up, and then all of this can go away. And then we will build the levees at this point. Actually, you two small tanks can go away as well. You're never going to be used, so that's fine. We can go ahead and set up some platforms here for the storage for that. Because they won't be convenient for all this stuff here, so we can go... That's our oil storage, as in cooking oil, which will work out because that's our oil right there, production. Alright, so starting to get multiple beavers injured at the same time just because the population's going up. And injuries just happen in this game. It's not one of those things that you can just not have happen at all. As you build more and more places, it's just going to happen. Alright, this production's done. It's gone. Get out of here. All gone. We can go over here and say demolish all of this. And we get a set of levees going straight out that way. I can leave the platforms there, they don't hurt anything. And so that's just still gonna run over. We're gonna lose a little bit of water here. That's totally fine. We're gonna overbuild these. To future-proof ourselves. That should do for right now. It said during this drought, we should get all of that closed off. Oh, you're also gonna need paths going to all this, aren't you? So paths there, paths here. You won't be able to reach this spot. That's fine. We just plunk down two little platforms right there. Paths across it to connect it all. And there's the drought. The wheels have stopped. Need more OSHA. Yep. We'll get there. Guess we can go ahead and get rid of that spot and put a set of stairs up and down. That'll be fine. Alright. So we've got 4.5 days for them to build that reroute of our power. Oh, I remember what we were saving up for. We were saving up for the gravity battery, which I totally forgot about. That's like 400. That's where our metal's going to go in the short term. It's fine. We can deal with that when we get there. I'm more concerned about our food situation. It's not... It's been okay. But we should have everything we need to potentially fix a bunch of those problems. I am suddenly coming to the realization we're not going to get any more planks during this time. That definitely means this isn't going to get fully solved. We should be able to get the levees all in place. But we won't get those two tiles sorted out. We won't get our gates sorted out. That's okay. And then once all that's done, we can knock this down here. Which, for that matter, I would even be able to go in here on these levees and put my, I'm going to need one more fermenter. I put one more fermenter here facing that way once this is all ripped out. Alright. Okay, so levees are all done on this side. So there's nothing to do for the R side. Part of me wants to put the hamster wheel so we can just have them power up by running in a wheel. But the other part of me is like, it's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. They're just doing their best for the moment. We definitely need to get another lumber production, plank production, whatever you want to say, going here. So let's go ahead and start queuing that up as well. Not put it here. Because I put it there, I can just make the path across here versus I can't make the path across that spot. Let's have this route back here for our stuff. Do they get wind power? I don't believe so. We eventually get engine power, which I don't know what the material we put in there is. But, we have that. The big fun thing we could do pretty soon is I could start putting, you know, these big heavy batteries up in the air. And those will go a long way for us. So let's actually set up to being able to do this as well. Because then when I get my first, I could just literally put off the side here. Engines are powered with logs? Oh, did it say it on there? I didn't notice it. Oh, right, in the middle, the formula. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so I could have the giant weight that just goes down here. We can do the same thing on some of these other cliff edges. We can just start putting a bunch of those weights down off the sides. Alright, I'm glad I was debating building another one of these because of the whole, like, 7 per lifespan ratio. But we're at 40... Well, 48. It's adjusting right now because population going up and down because of age and births and all that. We're at 48, and I had not expected to get that high. So the downside is we are going to have a bunch of our crops die down here because I let the water run out of this. I don't really care. That's fine. Those are crops that I have a huge surplus in. Like, we have 1.1 thousand soybeans, so... Let it be what it is. Alright. Another thing we can kind of do over time is just get our beavers access to the edges of the map and then just start walling stuff off so it slowly builds up. And you can if you're willing to put the time in, you can practically flood the entire map and then just carve out blocks of the map that you want to actually live in. I've never put in the time, but I've definitely seen where people have taken that time. So you could like really just change the entire global look of the map. Alright. Honestly, I don't even need floodgates here. I could put the 2 levees and just at the very top put dams and all that. That's what we're doing. Because I was thinking, we would lower the floodgates. That's how they work. So this plus that is going to be affecting the exact same thing we're doing. And require no planks. Because I don't see a reason I would want to open that to let out water down here early anytime soon. Maybe way late if I build a bunch of area down here. But I would still want to reserve this reservoir because of how much food is produced up here. Alright. And production's back online. The flooding is entirely contained now to places that doesn't negatively impact me by having that flooding. They're going to, of course, build those levees first and cause an absolute crisis real fast. I see you, game. I understand. It's fine. Oh, right, I'm gonna have to add a path here, aren't I? Right now, because like I said, I'm gonna build the gravity thing there, and then I'm gonna just probably get rid of a bunch of this path, build like 2 more gravity things here, get some path, build 2 more gravity things there, and then the path will just be gone, because there's no like maintenance you have to do on these buildings. Yeah, so for the moment, you can see absolute anarchy is happening. It'll get sorted soon enough. Yeah, so I finished the stuff that requires planks here. So now we're going to work on rerouting that water. That's looking all good. We need 400 science before we can do the next thing there. We're getting our steel and all that in. Whatever metal it is, I don't really know. Oh, do you reach the whole area? Yeah, you do. You're good. Okay. So we only have 3 beavers who don't currently have jobs in the area. I'm not super worried about that. One of the things we can do while we wait is I already got the hydroponic garden. We just couldn't do it earlier because of other limitations. You don't require mechanical power or anything, do you? Nope. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and say, there's your connection. And then we want 2 large storages here. One for the raw mushrooms. And one for the fermented mushrooms. And then down here somewhere... Oh yeah, we've already determined where I can put it. Because we can go right here. Get a view. And you. You. And you. And I can go right down here and say I would like another fermenter. 2 doors that side, yep. And we can make that for mushrooms. Alright, so we need more power. So what do we get on here? We're getting more with wet fur. We've got shelter. We're now getting fermented soybeans into the production. But we need more power. We are dissatisfied with the current availability of power. Put a stairwell down here for the moment. But that's the whole reason we set it up this way, so I can literally just toss on more wheels, run this farther, toss on more wheels, run this farther, and this will just be like one big gauntlet of all these wheels spinning. It'd be great. It could just keep putting industry out here. We'll put a connection point for like more stuff along here. We'll keep the mangroves there as best we can, but we'll be good. Now, I am curious, as I make this water level here, is that going to actually make this work better or worse? Because I feel like it'd make this work worse. But, I don't know. Let's see, isn't there space for our big wheel in the deep spots? No, we're walling off this area. So the only question with the deep spots is if I could fit it. Yeah, no, it won't fit here. It's like 5 long. So there's not a deep spot along here. Like over here there's areas, but you notice this doesn't move much because it's this whole giant area that's flowing. Need to move the unbuilt levees a bit? Well, that's only 1 tile. The question is, how many tiles long is it? Yeah, no, it wouldn't fit because that top left corner is only built up 1. Yeah, so it doesn't fit. It's always possible I may have been able to fit one over here that goes over the edge kind of thing, and kept that route and keep this back here. But I think we're fine. Zidian cashing in a 50 stream streak. 50 streams you've gone without missing a single one, so thank you so much for that continued viewing. It's mind-blowing, like, people managing to catch very regularly that many streams without missing a beat. Does mean a whole lot, so thank you so much for continuing to tune in and all that good stuff. Alright, when we're in during the droughts, I want to change that from the from a 3-prong, or from a 2-prong to 3. Is there a reason not to make it 4-prong? Just 1 wood? I'll probably just make it the 4. That way, if I put a production over here later, I've already got a connection point. Nah, we'll just make it the 3. But I'll wait till we're during a drought so I'm not losing any production time. Alright. And how are you doing back here? So you're continuing to flood this whole area. Excellent. So all that's getting filled in, all this is getting filled in, all this is getting filled in. Yep, and it does get to where it reaches the edge of the map and it just dumps out the edge of the map. So this would be the area to have to wall off if we wanted to capture more of that water. Which could be a maybe someday thing, but a maybe a someday that is nowhere near today. Because one of the good news, because I got rid of the thing with the districts where you had to like build more districts to reach more and more of the edge of the map, if we did just try and beeline over here and very slowly built a giant set of levees on this side, we could potentially flood the entire map. We'll get there someday. Yeah, so we only have 2 beavers right now who don't have jobs. Which, I don't know if this needs 1 or 2 jobs. Oh, recipe, mushrooms. Oh, with that means I can probably go straight for algae. What is the recipes that algae goes into? Or do we just eat algae straight up? No, it's, the food factory uses algae, as well as corn and eggplant. Okay. So that'll require us to get some new farmland, I think, realistically, to do that. Oh, that's another thing we have, is we have increased our usable farmland as one of the byproducts of doing this. Yep, so we got all that extra farmland over here. You can't quite even get up there, so let's not worry about too much. That edge we can't quite reach, so don't worry about that. Same with this edge. That's fine. So we are gonna have to set up. Did you say donut jobs? No. Don't know where that came from, but no, I didn't say that actually. We're also going to need to go into wood production. We're going to have to get paper to happen. I do want to get the gravity thing first. Because that gravity, like, that's going to be a pain point for us. Yeah, it's as I thought. With this getting deeper, it's actually making the water wheel run less effective. I think we're okay on that right now. It might honestly be something that... Cancel these? You know I'm betting? Get rid of those well, I think I can get rid of those entirely. I'm betting we don't actually want to go deeper with this. I'm betting we want to make the walls here higher to accommodate it. But that requires us to make it step down to get there. We can experiment up here. Let's let them finish the levees. That's not what you want to see. Okay. Temporary solution to this problem is we put those back. Yeah, so there's a depth problem. So as soon as we get this taken care of, then these get to pop up. Yeah, so you're all levied over there, so we can pull that levee up and it won't break anything. But I gotta wait till they get this this sorted over here first. Meanwhile, I can go down here, fill this in. Start building that up, and the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to want to take the, where I have this gearing back here. So what we can do is potentially get rid of this. Yeah, so this has to go for it. But I should be able to put the big water wheel up here. Oh, alright, well, we're gonna have to wait on that. That's fine. So we can build all the gearing back here. And then we have to do these things where, as we go along, I'll build a water wheel here. We'll have that connected. And we'll, like, once we get back there, we'll have everything detached. I won't be able to reach any of that anymore. But we have to deal with that first. So the first steps here is we're going to have to go and say... That's... Okay, so that's going to stop flowing now. Well, soon. It's going to stop flowing soon. We'll get rid of this. We'll make it into the 3.1. It's going to take work. We're going to make that 3.1. We're going to make this. We're going to go put another 3.1 here, wherever that needs to be. Go around here. Put another 3.1. Or actually just an angle. There won't even need to be a 3 point. Because we're going to put another one here. We'll follow up by having to put them on... Oh, actually, it has to be a tile higher. That's right. That's the whole thing is having the whole concern about. Okay. I guess these two don't matter. So we're going to build all that up. And do that. The actual depth of this is going to stay the same. I need to raise the water wheels one higher than they currently are. All right. Oh, for right now, pause these two buildings. Pause you as well. I need those planks to be allocated over here, because we by making this deeper, we've messed this up. Alright, so we've got that. I need to turn around here. Make that a 3-directional thing. And that is our top priority. Okay. So we're trying to get all of our stuff moved around, but like I said, what we're going to end up needing to do is lifting all of this. Actually, don't do that. Yeah, we're going to have to do that. Alright, that's fine. We can work around this right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this be a 3-prong. Once they finish this, then we're going to do a thing where it drops an elevation where it can go from the higher to the lower elevation, which is this. I'll put that there. And then we can start running the other stuff with the gears, and then later on I'll move this up. But that'll be our temporary fix while we're in the middle of a drought. But I do need them to reach this point as fast as they can. Because while we're in a drought, no water's running anyway, so we're not losing anything right now. But once the drought's over, I need everything set up there so we can hopefully produce all planks as possible and get things moving. Alright. So good news, almost all the stuff I'm building is literally just wood. Or just logs, not even planks. We're going to use a bunch of planks here soon. So then that goes there. The bend would go here. Okay. So I've got all that queued up for that part. Then we'd start tearing up the path and putting the larger wheels at the higher elevation. Then this one goes away, which I don't even know how we're dealing with that, actually. we'll figure that out when we get there. And once like that goes away, we'll do the same thing where I'll try and like at that point I'll probably have to just get rid of the fermenter and move it or whatever. It's fine. I mean, honestly, I could just shove the fermenter back here. That's exactly what we'll do. We'll put the weight back here, and once that's all sorted out, we'll put a weight there and there. And I'll tear up this. We'll put the other fermenter here. This fermenter goes away. So I can get back here to pull that up, lift that up, put a new one down. Yeah, let's make it bottom priority, but able to do it. Bottom priority, but able to do it. That's how we're going to approach this. We got nothing better to do. Go ahead and build them. But in the meantime, keep building all the rest of the stuff. Cool. And we're actually burning through all of our wood now, which is a little terrifying. Just because of how much construction I'm doing. Make you a high priority so they can actually get down here and build the build this stuff down here. Alright, yeah, so if I manage to block any of the waterways over here that drop off at all, if I were to just block that off so it couldn't drain out there, the next place this would dump off is over here. It's like right at the limit. It would spill over to this area and then down into where our river already goes, so that wouldn't be that bad. Making solid progress and all that good stuff. There you go. Alright, so as soon as they get this stuff over here built, make that also a priority on there. So as they get this over here built, we can start moving other stuff around a little bit. Looks like both the canola and the soybeans are full. The cassava are also full. Oh, right, because we have a much smaller warehouse for the cassava. It's always one's down here and here somewhere. Well, we can deal with that as well, I guess. It's not what I wanted. I didn't want to put 2 down. Tier 4. Nope. Hit the wrong thing. Cassava. Cassava, where are you hiding? There you are. Our food is getting desperate from what I'm seeing. Our population is kind of sustaining at a much higher rate than we anticipated. And the issue is, while we've got all of those raw crops ready to be made into edible food, I have no power to make them into edible food, so we're kind of stuck at the moment. And that'll happen until the drought ends, which is just in like another day here, so that's not a big deal. The bigger issue I have right now is our power to our manufacturing is kind of all scuffed at the moment. Okay. Yeah, so the drought is over. We're basically just waiting for the water table to build up enough that it starts spilling over the dam over here. And then we'll be good to continue that. We're also really struggling on our wood front. Oh, you know what? How far can our forestry reach now? It can actually reach down here. I guess we can claim a couple more tiles. Also put a couple more tiles over there. Got a lot of hungry beavers. How did you get water? All right. Oh, you actually got that done. Cool. And little by little, we'll be carving through a bunch of this stuff. Unconnected buildings. I actually did finish. Okay, well, they're working on it. Get these to be top priority, so we can get our power, so we can fix our food problem before everybody dies. Which is probably going to be a thing that's going to happen pretty soon. It'll be great. Because as you can see, our giant wheel is too deep now. Why is there from the last flood? Yeah, it should slowly evaporate and go away. That'll be fine. The good news, it does seem like they're having a pretty consistent cycle for those oak trees. That they're not going down, getting the next one set up, not going down, so at least our production is continuing to go smoothly. Oh, you don't actually need that other one? I mean, it's fine. We'll leave it there just in case. Once I get the other water wheel in there, it should help out a lot. The big issue is going to boil down to, once you get everything else set up, this water wheel is going to lose most of its power, and these will also... I mean, that'll be fine. Just really need that to get finished. That'll give us the power from this wheel and the power from the wheel we're building now on here. We get a lot more horsepower going. Okay. Been a while since you've played Timber yourself. Hey, Miso lost error. Yeah, no, we were doing good. We're now in a little bit of trouble. And the trouble was when I decided to build this up higher, it made our really big water wheel kinda suck. It's like, wait a second, once I build this up to the site, it's gonna be a problem, right? The answer was yes. And these are basically not doing anything now, so let's open them up. For just a second, the water direction reversed because I gave it more place to put the water. There, that's actually helping a lot. Honestly, it's time to get rid of these floodgates as well, but I'm just gonna leave them for the time being. Oh good, you're finally over there, and we have our 400, so... Oh, you're bigger than I actually had planned for. Game, why do you have to mess up my plans? I had a plan. And then you took it from me. I was gonna put the weight there. Now I can put the weight here, and then down here. Actually, this spot won't work. I can make it work. We can put it over here, and then another spot there, and that'll be a bunch. That does ruin the idea of putting the other fermenter down here. It's very inconvenient. Because apparently it needs 2 tiles wide. So I could go over here once we get progress and do one of these kind of things. Build this up. Put the weight hanging off the side. And work back here. Wouldn't be the worst. But realistically, I'm going to need a decent amount of those. Yeah, there's a spot for one. Right there. No thoughts required. You can go right here, right now. A lot of gears. That's going to be all of our gears right there. You're a low priority. Alright, you've almost got that built. We are juggling on the food. We are not really having people dying of starvation, but we aren't really getting much put away. Hopefully that gets resolved soon. And as soon as we get the these built, that's when I can start tearing up this path to start putting the larger water wheels in. Randy random rules. Oh, optimizing a water path in there. Hint, they use the shallow water model for all of their overflow calculations. If you know that one. Gotcha. Got dynamite to make a bigger jacuzzi? Not yet. Right now I'm trying to fix our the amount of force we have behind these water mills and all that. We're not getting enough. So what we're doing is we're putting up the pipeline here for all the gearing. Okay, so now that we've got all that, this part of the path is gone. And then we will build another segment of levee. And that other segment of levee. Are you able to reach that? I don't know if you can. If you can, take it. If you can't, that's fine too. There you go. And then when we hit this spot, we do it again right here. And it'll be a significant increase in power to the system. That's where I want you to put those planks. That's your priority, is get more power into this infrastructure, please. Prioritize those cassavas so they're not just laying on the ground in the way. Alright. Because getting a second large water wheel should do a whole lot for a lot of things. I have like an eyelash or something on my glasses. Where did my... There it is. Alright. But as you can see, like, so much around this game is just water management. We're not even doing anything that elaborate right now. We're just kind of like rerouting water. Versus, you can see how ridiculous the macro scale of water can be, where we were up here, that we walled off this one little area here with the intention of deliberately flooding. And actually, it has spilled over. That we made enough water that we've flooded all of this on the map. None of this was underwater before. It's not to get way out here that it is reaching the edge of the map. but you can do so much with water management in this game. Because like right now, I can't really build into much other territory until I do more manipulation of the water. We'll get there though. I should figure out where we're building next. So I could certainly try building down in some of this area down here. There's lots of platforms here I could make a home on. Water's already routed through this area. So we could do a thing where I like wall off here, try and, you know, fill up this area as our reservoir. And then we would live on like this segment of land, that segment of land, over here around it. Or could like really, really fill it up kind of thing. I'd like fill up all of that area in there. You've also got down here, you've got a really large area. And we could, you know, hold the water up to this height by like walling off down here. Fill all that up the whole way back. You know, flood that too. I mean, actually, if we wall that out, it covers most of this. But that'd be a little trickier to manage that part. The ones I have gone fairly far into a run, I've typically gone with the strategy of flooding as much of the land as possible, then carving out pieces for myself. Like just make like a little levee block that this is where I live, is inside the hole. All right. The added interesting part of all this is right now where they're running back and forth along this wall out here. Luckily, they only really need to do that when they're accessing this. Is because that's already elevated, I can just knock this tile out and put another water wheel facing the other way. And it should work, because I believe that puts the power out both sides. Okay. How are we doing on time? We're doing relatively alright. Because this doesn't seem like a particularly good spot here. This doesn't give me much opportunity to hold water there. Like, I could make all of this into, like, a, you know, built-up reservoir kind of thing. I could also say or do, like, cut a path with the levees to, like, move this water where I want it, which is probably what we should do. Like, you could, you know, when we get down here, have, like, a little levee canal that goes this way to there, that has, like, a dam, and, you know, block this off a little bit. Is the water wheel be placed on scaffolding instead of a levee? So you can keep a pathway? Yes. But this pathway I don't need for anything, really. This is the better path, like, 9 out of 10 times anyways. Because, like, all my storage is over there anyways. I mean, we could, but yeah, no, you're right. I could just, I mean, I could do that now if I do it this way. So we can put a path here. Or there. And then I can't fit another one up there. It's not wide enough. Like, that's not a priority thing there. Actually, you know what? There's not anything really stopping me from doing that now. Excellent. We're at 90, like 80, 90%. But we could do better than that, chat. We can have more. More power. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. We can do this. Put our fermenter here. So you're the soybeans, you're the cassava, you're going to be the mushrooms. Which are not yet growing. So that's fine, so you go ahead and just delete that building entirely. And delete this. Move the path here. And what that opens up the opportunity is later on, during a drought, I could tear this up, lift it up. And, you know, then we get another good water wheel. What I'm a little concerned about is now this has stopped turning at all, and we're not in the drought yet. Why have you stopped running? It's fine. We'll just keep adding water wheels. Sooner or later it'll be better. Okay. So I've got all that sorted. Why are you not... Maybe because it's right... Oh, it's because it's right on the corner. It's not actually getting that much. So when we get the one on the other side, it should be better. It'll also probably even out the load more as this provides resistance on the water. We'll get there. Yeah, so you've got that. We don't want to mess with putting the larger wheel here yet, because it'll be a tile higher than that one. Once we get these ones set up, then I'm going to get rid of this one here. And then during the drought, we will move this angle point to somewhere closer to this end. But we'll wait till we're in like a proper drought to touch any of that, so that we don't make things worse than they already are. Now, downside is I don't have nearly as much food as I was really hoping for, nor have we actually finished our weight here. I don't think we have time to make that weight even if I wanted to. I've got the gears and the metal, but planks have been a consistent problem. Okay. And these can go. They're literally not doing anything now. They're just materials. Technically, this can go too. This probably should go, because then the water will go through this way a little bit, and this is, yeah, those are built-in levees. So this levee here can go as well. That should help with a bunch of this operating here in a moment. Tell him to pick up all that, because there's a ton of planks and all that down there. Alright, so unfortunately, we're just going to have to wait on getting more stuff going there. We didn't get the battery up. I'll deal with that later. What's your problem? Cultivation stopped. Crop will die soon. Right, because we just don't have someone working it. Make that a neutral priority. Because we had that down priority because we couldn't ferment. But that's something we'd be able to do now. Interestingly enough, that wheel is turning while we're in the drought. I'm not... There should be no water flow. You're backfilling? What? You have, like, a whirlpool going on in here? How does that work? Like, we've got, like, weirdly, we have, like, a whirlpool going right here. It's just, like, the physics doesn't know what to do. So we've created, like, an infinite... Like, it's losing force gradually. But we shouldn't be able to get any force at all now. We just somehow made, like, a vortex and was figuring out how to deal with it. Alright, so no more planks for a little while, unfortunately. But we'll get there. I could also see making this whole area into a reservoir, like really building it up levees-wise, because this is kind of a crap unusable space just with all the terrain. But if I made this into like one big water storage kind of in just like maybe up along this edge and over in that like kind of not usable space and just make it a ton of water in there, that'd make all this growable space. We could even just dump it right back into this river spot. And that would be potential good use of space. It'd only cost me lumber. Yeah, what would that even look like? We can start queuing it up. I'd probably want to go one tile back, wouldn't I? Yeah, I'd want to go one tile back from where I'm doing that. So what we could do is here. Now I want to make it tired. I'd be like, I could put the floodgates here. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to put floodgates here. Let's just get silly with this. We will put it there though. And by silly, I'm going to make it all the way up to the height we're at. Now you can put the floodgates one more higher. You put the floodgates at the highest height here. And then all the rest of this I'd have to cut down the trees. I'm not planning on actually trying to preserve the materials of these trees, so we're just going to say, this forest, don't like it, it's stinky. So I won't be able to do anything more with that. But yeah, like really box this in up here. Like I said, we'll probably go right to this tile here. Kind of up over this way, up over that way. Make this into a giant reservoir for whatever's going to be farther down the way. It'll make all this area around it growable and all that for the time being. It'll be a complete obnoxious use of wood. But we could deal with that when we get there. The big thing is it'll have to be one tile lower than this. But I can control that with the floodgate. You'd make a stairway on water wheels. Like over the water wheels. Because I found out you can't actually build stairs over this part. I can make a staircase that goes over this back part, though, and around. Ultimately, the thing I'm going to end up doing is... You can go here. Make some stairs there. Just be a path for now. And then this will go over. Now, in the new reservoir you're planning, make water wheels on different levels. Oh yeah, no, you could do, like, I could certainly do that, like, have it snake around like this. It would eat up a lot of the volume. I could definitely put water wheels, though, wherever the floodgates are. Like, build up the platforms to have the water wheel by the floodgate. So that would turn more water wheels as well, and then, you know, do all the piping you gotta do to get that to connect up here. That's certainly a thing. I'm actually not expecting to need much more in the way of water wheels in the short term. For here, once we go and we get these three all built, and then, you know, start going and cleaning that up as well. Alright, so the water should be coming back through pretty soon. We can worry about that when we get there. Right now, I just need to stabilize things. The good news is we're not dealing with that many people who are, like, actually starving right now. I'm trying to not increase my population quite yet. Yeah, I'll get there. Okay, so all the water wheels should start rolling. And at least temporarily, We have near maximum power. It won't last, sadly, because everything will start balancing itself out, and we'll get back to the same... Like, the problems we had before should remain the same problems we had. But we'll get there. Yeah, so you only need 9 more planks, and then we'll get another giant water wheel rolling. Alright. Endure built, but I don't have enough people for it. We have three jobs that are not currently filled. As the number says, water's interesting. It always irrigates a huge space as long as above ground level. That's why it's always green around your cliff. Yeah. That's the whole reason I was like, I'm gonna build this giant thing here, is because all this area around it will be considered growable. And like actually some of these areas that are too high right now for it, that should also become growable as well. So it should allow me to grow a bunch, you know, make an area that I can live down here, make a little bit of space down here and that. We'll definitely need to dam it off down somewhere here to keep water in this space. But that'll be fine, because I don't want to have to do the thing where I like constantly have to like tick down the floodgate, because that's what I've done a lot of my ones in the past. I have a floodgate up here, and as the lower area need a little bit more water, I drop the floodgate 1 tick. But then as you expand and then you need the water in both places, you can no longer rely on that. 100% operating power. Nice. So, we're going to see what happens with the food. But we do need the food to actually happen. Gonna give the planks and all that a chance to play some catch up and all that. We're gonna get our battery here built. That can actually be neutral in that, because I don't need to go out of my way to like beeline for this other water wheel. We are maxing out our power. So adding more doesn't really help too much yet. One of the nice things about this is this does make... Oh, you know why I should have made those levees? Is because then if I go to make this a deeper reservoir later, which I don't think we will, but if I were to, I could just make all this higher. Like, to make a deeper reservoir as well, as I can just, you know, blow out the ground and everything with TNT. Alright. So, one thing I need to do is be able to get down here and start clearing out the trees to make room. But the trees are kind of in the way. That said... Alright. So you're at the same height as everything else. We could definitely make a path along the back here that'd work. It's kind of a waste. But, you know. Sometimes you do things that are kind of a waste. Alright, that should allow them to start actually building on the wall, and because they'll be able to stand on top of it, we can keep working on that. We'd also want to drop down here to like clear a bunch of that, but we'll sit there. We'll make it happen. It'll be a slow process, but that's the whole thing. So much of this game is just not outgrowing what you can handle at any given point, and then, you know, on the other end of that, making sure you're good on a lot of these other things. It does look like we're actually reaching a point that the cassava, we're actually fermenting at a faster rate than we're growing it, I believe. If that does end up being the case, we can, you know, knock down some of the canola, basically trade what crops are where. Do you wonder if everyone tested if water pumps can create enough flow for wheels to self-sustain and generate some excess power? Probably not. This game does a pretty good job of not letting you quite get away with those kind of shenanigans. Like infinite power type stuff. Is there a max Z level in this game? I forgot when you played it. We can find out. Here, let's... There is, but it is up there. It's like twice as high as what I've got there. So there is a max Z level, but it up there. It is a very significant max Z level. There. They can use that to start chopping down the trees to make room as well. And just like that, we have a lot of power rolling in this area. Ooh. That thing stores 200 or 20,000 horsepower hours. All right. I'm convinced. So let's start getting other production stuff. Well, as soon as we have 250, other production stuff made, so we can go ahead and get the paper mill starting to operate. And keep our production building up. I'll probably go over here and start stacking that up as well. I'm gonna most likely put storage on this side of like this area, and then all the production on that side, just so you can keep the power running around along the back where it's kind of out of the way. Not worry too much about the rest. Alright, so our food's still struggling, which is not particularly exciting to see. And my concern is I could build another place in our place for our another breeding pod. That's the word. Another breeding pod to keep stuff moving, which is probably what I need to do. But the concern about that kind of thing is once I commit to increasing my population, then I have to worry about that. Food's already a struggle, but I need more beavers to deal with the struggle that is food. So it's a whole thing. Now, if you said I was 25, it may have been up there. Because I clicked, I probably was up like 15 or so. And I built from down here. So, you know, it's probably 10 plus higher than this spot. Give or take. But that's still pretty ridiculous when you're looking at your highest points and you can still go up like 10 from above that. Like, you're only going to get above that if you're like really trying to go for like a sky tower kind of thing, which that's where you expect your limits to get in your way. All right. Cool. Let's see. Over by the clock top layer, it'll tell you. I mean, it just has an infinity symbol. The beaver clock? I mean, it tells me how many hours we're working and what time of day it is. Yeah, so like I can go through the various layers to focus on them. But anything over the highest layer I'm using, it just says infinity. I'm assuming once I start building up higher, go -1. It only goes to 5. One down from infinity? There's your number. 16, but that's already made my stuff disappear. We're already below the 16th layer. I think it only goes to here. The infinity is because that's as high as I've built anything. These are the highest objects on the map. There's no reason to allow me to look higher than the highest object. That seems like a quality of life savings that's... Yeah, I did. And you said this is the highest layer, and my buildings are disappearing. Just down 1 layer from infinity. That's what I did. Up 1, infinity. Down 1, 16. So to get it, if we're realistically... I don't know if it'll show up because we haven't actually constructed it. Now it's 31. So the game is smart enough that it won't let you go to a layer that has nothing in it that you can't possibly reach. No, so that's what I'm saying, is it wouldn't let me go any higher than I built stuff. So now that I built a giant tower, it looks like 31, well 32 is the top layer, but 31 is like when the first I can go down to. So it looks like 32 is the maximum height. Now, what you don't realize is there's 64 layers. No, it's like negative 64, whatever. Yeah, no, 32 seems more than reasonable, though. Because even like this thing, where I've stacked them 3 deep, you know, without doing the layers, it'd be impossible to navigate that. It'd be incredibly frustrating to deal with that. Yep, no, I gotcha. No, as you're telling me up and down, and I was trying to be like, well, that's because I haven't built more. I just wasn't sure if I actually had to complete the tower row thing. We're working on making that reservoir happen little by little. That's interesting. That regrew there on its own. Yeah, no, I figured I was memeing that there would be a negative, because it would make no sense to be like, no, we handled negative 127 layers of depth. Why wouldn't we? But there's no tunneling in this game. You just remove a block from the top. Alright, so we are solid on planks now. Not sure why those aren't getting... Oh, it's because they're probably tearing those down as a higher priority. I see. It's fine. So we get the storage built up here that we need to do for the mushrooms. And it would build more production, but we've been dealing mostly with actually having workers, not their stuff. Okay. So all those are starting to stop. And that weight is gradually burning off that power. And unfortunately, way faster than I was really anticipating. So we definitely need way more batteries. Like going to the 2nd floor in a RimWorld building. Yup. Alright, so on the short-term agenda, let's set up that. And we can go over here. Because that's right, we're going to build the paper factory because we had multiple things we needed that for. So that'll connect everything. And I don't think we can fit some kind of warehouse around here of any kind. They're not big enough without eating into our mangroves, which maybe is what ultimately does happen. But in the short term... Oh, you know what can happen? We could end up putting, like, just another building that's, like... whatever. 4 by whatever. Oh, we still need to make some of the leisure stuff, too. I still haven't built, like, the double shower. We haven't touched the leisure at all. Outside, like, the very basic stuff that we started with. It's just been like, no, more food. More food, better, good. Employs miners to extract scrap. That's for extracting from the middle area. That's that. I honestly also had very little need for the better research very often. Not to, like, way late, because then you can just make tons of buildings to, like, speed run your stuff. You make large bridges and suspension bridges to save resources. Make the explosives factory next. Like, being sent to 100 feet, the shoreline, utterly confusing the guy who went to return the bucket of sand. What? Like, being sent to get 100 feet of shoreline and utterly confusing the guy who... when you return to the bucket of sand? Yeah. Yeah, so we already ran out of power on that. So we're going to need a lot more weights to drop. The good news, we have this giant cliff here. Oh, you know what I could also do? What am I... Oh, never mind. I've got the stairwell there, and we've got the bar right there, so I can't... I was going to say, like, we should put another weight here. That's fine. It's also interesting that I can build a gravity battery, and it starts fully charged, which does make sense. But as far as, like, game balance, like, I see opportunities for abuse here. There's certainly ways I can make that do things they probably weren't intending. Yeah, I'll go down here and put stairwell up. Isn't that how mechanics are supposed to be used? But yeah, no, the idea is because you're building it up here at the top to begin with, you could start with, like, your entire cable coiled and then add the weight to it. Like, and then you'd remove the scaffolding holding it up, and you get, like, one freebie out of it. Or are you just saying that's how mechanics are supposed to be used in game, is to take advantage of them? Yeah. It's just an interesting thing, because most of the games, when you buy, like, any type of power storage in the game, it starts empty and it must be filled, and this is, like, one of the only exceptions I've seen where it's the other way around, but it's like, you know, it makes sense that it works the other way around in this case. Oh yeah, I couldn't put there because of that. I was like, why didn't I put it there? Honestly, with as tall as this reservoir is going to be, I could see putting a whole bunch of the weights along it as well. Probably over here, because I'm building this, like, right up next to that. We can literally just put like, batteries the whole way around it over time. It'd just be a completely obnoxious amount of power storage. Not practically, but we get that going. The good news that did actually last us, like, a good half a day or so we got before we were out of power. And once we get the paper mill, we'll do more. Pretty much out of wood and out of planks again. Food's doing relatively well, though. You're too far away to be... Oh, right. You are up there, aren't you? I was like, what do you mean it's too far away? We can fix this. Not the most efficient routing. I could have also put it here. I probably should have put it there, but it's fine. This is not a place I expect them to run back and forth constantly. They're just gonna put this wall up and everything, and that'll be that. All right. The good news for as large as we made this reservoir, we have been able to sustain without really breaking a sweat at all. With all that stuff, so that's been really, really good for us. Another thing we could potentially do with all that. How much battery does it charge up again? I believe it's based on how much you have to spare. It's not like I have to have 100 horsepower to spare. It's like any over the max will be bled into it until it's topped off. So if I was 1 horsepower over all of my production, it would just ever so slowly crawl up. But if I was 1,000, it would just rocket up real fast. If this Verify CD comes out good, if it does, then you can finally get your PC back to normal. Something's seriously wrong. You can't use half the right-click stuff without the system just locking up. Some things happen like 8 to 12 hours after you clicked. Oh, that's definitely things to check. Like that kind of an implication I would usually think malware, because like if it was something like genuinely just wrong with like your CPU or some like hardware problem like that, it wouldn't be normal typically for those types of things to go that long without crapping out in some way. But if you had something like malware just eating up your system resources, that would explain it. Like that can cause that kind of behavior. You know, I'm hoping the Verify thing fixes it and it's just not there, like a problem. But that to me sounds like stuff like, you know, you got some kind of crypto miner or something installed by a malware or whatever. Mention it all. It's some extension that comes up in that context menu. Ah, okay, so if you got like an extension that's misbehaving, okay, then it'd be a matter of trying to get rid of the extension. It's the old browser toolkits problem where like everyone have their browser bars that people would get installed and they go, my computer doesn't run well, and all you do is just uninstall the browser bar and suddenly everything's back to normal. Gotcha. Okay, so you're not seeing performance hits in your resource usage. Okay, interesting. I'm not really seeing those kind of performance hits where there wasn't a like some resource getting hijacked. Can't even manually yoink it via regedit. Yeah, that sounds like malware. But yeah, no, it doesn't sound like a crypto miner or anything. Unless there's actually, for the record, there's ways that if you get certain malware, that it can hide itself in the resource manager, task explorer, all that kind of stuff. It happened on DirectX install or VB whatever resource install. Oh, that's weird. Because those wouldn't do those kind of things. I don't know. There's something going on. Something funky. Wouldn't be able to say more without actually, like, looking at the system kind of deal. Yeah, so those fine. Those are all fine. Oh, we could definitely improve our storage of blueberries. We should probably do that. Blueberries are a very critical resource for us. There you go. What we'll do here is we'll reroute this path to go this way instead of the other way. Alright. Format C, start over. Not necessarily. There is always the thing that, like, once you've been bitten by a virus, unless it is a well-documented virus, you can't always tell you're truly clear. But that said, like, there's a lot of viruses that they really don't do a whole lot. That you can feel relatively safe. Yeah, like, once you got it, it's gone kind of thing. It is going to be quite the reservoir. Okay, searching for run once and limiting it to keys only gets you to all the run at startup places and regits. We also want the rest of the internal NVMe SSD back on install for CD without Dell blower. Oh yeah, no. That is one thing I don't miss from the days of buying prefab. Like, don't get me wrong, prefab makes sense for a lot of people. They really do. If you don't want to sit there and have to deal with all of that stuff yourself, get prefab. If you want to know that, you know, N number of year after you bought the computer, you are protected, that they will replace it kind of thing, get a prefab. If you just don't know how to go through building your own computer, get a prefab. If you don't want to just deal with troubleshooting your crap yourself later, get a prefab. Like, there's lots of really good reasons to get prefab. That said, most of the prefabs come with a whole bunch of crap on them, unless they're, what is it? I can't remember if it's like Microsoft Select or Windows Select or something or other. It's a special thing that you pay just a little bit more, and it basically means they're not allowed to install bloatware. It's pretty much a marketing label that, you know, a lot of corporate / professional groups will look at. Hey, Zoside. You do like doing all that. We had some Wickham systems. You just needed something working now. So you got a G5. That makes sense. Or you get a PC from Invicta and it will come with 0 bloatware. Well, that just probably means they, instead of upselling you to the Microsoft Windows Select or any of that kind of stuff, it probably just is, you know, already got that labeling on it. You'll probably find in their marketing paperwork somewhere that's like Microsoft Select or whatever. But all that's saying is, yeah, they've got the certified, like, they've certified, approved, whatever you want to call it, that they don't got crap on there. Let's see, back in the day, you had a Peltier-driven water-cooled system. It had it running negative 16 degrees Celsius. Oh, are you talking about a computer that just doesn't come with the operating system? Oh, that's like your company? Yeah, no, if it's your thing and it comes with an operating system and all that, like, as an option, like, I know we've had the conversation like Linux versus other things, but if it, oh, don't do that yet. I need a gap in there for you to go and actually get those trees knocked out. I believe you just have to demonstrate that you don't have a bunch of stuff pre-installed and making it a big thing. And you can get, like, the whole certified Microsoft Select, whatever. I can't remember the... No, not mine. Who you work for? Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Where they do all that sort of stuff. They can get a... Like I said, certification might not be the right word. But it's basically just saying, this computer doesn't come with crap installed on it. In most places, it's an upsell, but there are some companies who, instead of making an upsell, they're like, this is just what we do. We don't put this crap on here. Usually that's like premium brands or whatever that do that. The reservoir is coming along nicely. Misalosera says, you custom build PCs, and it was an Athlon core you bought with Windows XP Pro on release of it. First 3D NVIDIA card, and a suit. The expletive out of the full case. Bare bones. Oh yeah, no, I used to do all sorts of fancy stuff. Like I remember getting out the Dremel before computers just came with like a window on the side, like dremeling a case to get the plexi set on there, taking the time to like clean up all the edges and then doing all that, putting the place where I could like bolt in the thing to hold like the plexi window in. And it wasn't like a kit or something I bought. I actually took the time. I took apart a CRT monitor that was that horrible, ugly, that beige that like everything came at the time. Like, I actually took all the screws out, took off the plastic, vinyl dyed it all, you know, with, like, stenciling and everything, put it all back together. My dad hated that. He was like, what the hell are you doing? To be fair, in a lot of ways, it's probably the correct response. I never did the water cooling. That was always a thing with like the electrical engineering stuff and always went into. I understand, like even nowadays I can look at it and be like, it is pretty much just as safe as anything else. It makes sense, it's effective, I accept all of these things, but also my brain still goes, water or electricity equals bad. Even though, like I said, I 100% understand the systems are enclosed. I mean, it's demineralized water, but that just, the moment it gets on the board, you're picking up minerals, so that doesn't really mean that much. But, you know, like, I get all that, but still my brain's like, no, water, electricity, no. Bad. Even though I understand this is a thing in here, and not a thing that is really pragmatic or whatever. I've gotten to the point though. I've been heavily debated going to water-cooled system in the near future. Like the next time I have to do like a proper build out, because I do know the specs are getting better and better on it, and things are pretty solid in that area. Let's see this. Law says this had pre-installed Windows and a recovery partition and all that jazz. But you don't want it on a small 256 gigabyte NVMe. It comes with, and even make your own boot partitions, so no CD needed again systems. You want the bloat off, and this OS install is like 8 years old, that you've run it near 24/7. Yeah. What about a hybrid air-cooled system? Well, all water-cooled systems use air cooling. Like, you have the water cooling component, which ultimately goes to a radiator or whatever, that is air cooled. So pretty much all water cooling is doing is taking the heat from here, moving it over there, and then using the air cooling to get it away from there. So you're just kind of moving the heat, it buffers here, and then the wind takes it out. Now you'll still have other things, like you'll have like little random things inside your computer that they themselves will still use air cooling, because you'll have like, you know, your video card might not have a water cooling option. And that's fine for them to be mixed and matched. A lot of times, if, like, usually your GPU and your CPUs, and then usually your chipset, a lot of those will be water-cooled when you're set up that way. But, like, your power supply most likely is still going to be air-cooled. So it's always hybrid or air-cooled. But it's the lion's share is done by the water cooling. Because ultimately, like I said, it's taking it from where you don't want it to someplace you don't care, and then dissipating it from that spot. Which, honestly, that's literally all cooling for electronics, period. It's just taking the heat from where you don't want it to, or, yeah, where you don't want it to anywhere that's else. Your HD, or your hard drive can be water-cooled, but you never see it in action, because there's no point. If you're concerned about your hard drive temperatures, something has gone wrong. I have never in my entire career heard of a hard drive overheating that wasn't some like absolutely extreme event where the rest of the computer is basically on fire, so the hard drive is fairly irrelevant. To me, when you get into that places, that's people kind of kind of, you know, they're doing stuff to do stuff, not because it makes sense. Yeah, no, on the motherboard, you have the north bus and that kind of stuff. Well, a lot of your buses. And a lot of those, you can get water cooling for them. And all that. Yeah, there's also water cooling for RAM. If your RAM is overheating, again, something has gone horrifically wrong. So I wouldn't even say it makes sense to water cool a hard drive, even if I have it spinning the whole time. The hard drives don't fail from overheat. Like the HDDs, they fail from mechanical failure. They got little motors inside. They got a little motor, not motors. They've got a little motor inside and all that kind of stuff. But they usually don't run into heating problems. Usually it's a lot of other stuff. And then all the well, if you're overclocking your hard drive, then what on earth are you doing? It's a mechanical thing. You don't just wind up the motor faster. Overclocking a hard drive is asking it to have all sorts of failures. Yeah, no, if you're talking an extreme environment, then sure. But the average person buying a shim to like put water cooling, like there's a reason why most hard drives don't even come with a heat sink that's like the top works as a heat spreader, but they don't actually come with a proper heat sink. The plates of drive expand to the point that they touch the reading head? What were you doing? Usually that's because the bearing starts going on the spindles and they could get ever so slightly off and then you head crash and that's the end of it. Use the heat hard drive cooler in small case or servers. Just leave the side of the case off and dust more often. All components contribute to the air temperature in the case. This is true. All components do contribute. But again, the amount of heat a hard drive creates is so negligible compared to so many other things. That's just like there is 1,000 things that are a better use of your time if you're trying to deal with cooling. Like honestly, just putting a fan blowing air through your case is a better use of time than trying to do anything with your hard drives. Like, again, your north bus and your south, like your north bus and everything, all your buses on your motherboard, sure, makes sense. Your GPU makes sense. Your CPU makes sense. Honestly, if they made power supplies that are set up this way, your power supply creates significantly more power. Now, typically, they don't let you water cool those, with rare exceptions, because that's where all your power is stepped up, stepped down kind of thing. And there's a lot of really scary capacitors in there. So if you ever did have a leak in there, that's where the bad news happens. Like, if you're taking a hard drive and you're getting one of those desks that has, like, where you can close the door and you have your computer in there, well, first of all, stop it. No. If you're not dealing with an extreme environment, like, you know, a machining floor could be and all that, you do not put your computers inside of something that closes. That'll kill your computer, but that's usually not a hard drive overheating. That's, you've taken all that air cooling or water cooling and all that and said, what if you're trying to dump that heat out into an enclosed space that you can fully heat up and then there's nowhere to dump heat? Because you need that difference in temperature so that you can dump out hot air into a cold space or a cooler space to like get that offset. You'd have to get one like seal, you have to get one like a sealed oil cooler plate on the outside to interface your additional cooler. A CPU power lines, things around the socket, may easily overheat, especially if you're overclocking your CPU. Why are you overclocking your CPUs? What year is this? I know a bunch of them come on with like built-in overclocking. I call that built-in, what if my computer wasn't stable? I had so many friends like at the end of the 90s, early 2000s who would just buy a brand new computer. They get the latest processor and everything, which we're talking, what was that, like a 4-core processor at the time? They would buy like the latest processor, and the first thing they would do is they would overclock the bejesus out of it and benchmark it and then fry their CPU because it would just overheat to the moon. And I'm staring at them going, but why? And it's because they wanted a bigger benchmark number. But yeah, no, that's one of the things where it's like, oh, I'm worried about overheating my wires because I'm overclocking. It's like, well, your problem is you're overclocking. The only time I see someone wanting to overclock a processor is like, if you're on that point that you are struggling to run stuff and you just don't have the budget, I mean, I would argue still don't overclock because then you might fry your computer you're depending on that you don't have the budget to replace. But if you absolutely had no choice for work reasons or whatever, you had to get like a little bit more life, maybe I could be convinced on overclocking. But I actually get, like, genuinely, if I get like a graphics card, it's like, I auto overclock. I'm like, how do I turn this off? I do not want you to do that. I will give up 5 frames per second, sir and or madam. Recently heard someone 60% overclock and then complain about the fans running too loud. Yeah, and then their computer lasts for only 6 months because they're overclocking the whole stupid thing. They're putting more voltage through the thing than it was originally intended to. The first thing you do is you delid the CPU. Honestly, I haven't heard of people delidding a CPU, Enoch, until you mentioned, like, is that a thing people do? It's like, I get it. You can take, because for those who don't know, that shiny little silver part you see on the top, that's just a heat shim. Like, the CPU's underneath it. I've gotten CPUs that didn't have that shim before, so it's effectively delidded by default. But, like, actually taking one and being like, let me just pry this off, or however it's removed, I don't actually know. I would assume they bond it in some way. But, because I've never seen a screw on a CPU that I can think of. I've not looked for one. But, like, the idea of taking that off, it's like, okay, sure. Most people, you know, who purchased the first generation of Ryzen's, oh yeah, it's glued and the soldered to the die. Yeah, like, that's those things I just wouldn't do. Like, to me, it's just not necessary. Your Arduinos here run a double the clock your first computer did. I wish you could have overclocked that one. Yeah, like when you're talking about like you bought like a $25 hobby Arduino or like a $45, like you get like one I think they go up to like 120 where like you get an Arduino and you want to mess with like overclocking and doing all sorts of silly fun shenanigans kind of stuff. By all means, no, you're gonna probably kill the poor thing, but that's the reason you do that versus, you know, where you buy a brand new processor for like $600, $700, $800 for something actually good or more or whatever, and then you immediately throw it after, like, you know, you double the voltage or something and just watch it melt. Your previous CPU was an i7 3770K. You delidded that one in a vise in your garage. You're braver than I am. Alright. I want to see this get finished here, which is just waiting on logs. And then these two batteries will kick on. And then we'll have three of these batteries rolling. Yeah, so those tiles make a difference. Each tile seems to be about 2,000 HPH, horsepower per hour. Because this is 2 tiles high, and this one's at 20,000, and this one's at 16,000. That's honestly not inconsiderate, or not inconsiderable. Probably not inconsiderate as well. It probably looks at you and it gets angry. Arduino's around 16 megahertz with the external clock. Your first PC was an 80x286 at 8 megahertz, 6 megahertz toggle. Oh yeah, good old turbo button. I don't remember what we had for our first computer, very genuinely. I know way later, like when it was no longer relevant, I got a hold of a Commodore 64. Which, to give you the context of, it was when, like, they were first, like, Bitcoin first came into existence, and, like, no one had heard of it really yet, and it was just kind of this interesting, weird tech and all that. And I actually threw that thing under my bed running with, like, the thinnest Bitcoin miner I could actually pull up. And it actually did okay, because there was nothing else happening on it. It was not as powerful as anything else going on, but it's like, what else the heck am I going to do with a Commodore 64? And it just sat under bed just clocking away on that thing. Don't ask me what the hash rate was. I don't remember. I do remember later on, I got, oh, here, that's fine. I do remember later on, the next computer we got was a Pentium 1. I think that was a Gateway 2000 or whatever it was, made in 1995. Where we had ourselves a Jazz drive. For those who remember those, like, and it was the big Jazz drive too. We got that later on it. So we got a big old Jazz drive. The discs were like this big and they're like that thick, and they actually had a spindle drive inside of it. Those things, maybe use them twice and they would get damaged. There's the most useless drive in the world. You try and make a backup with it, and you had like zero expectation that backup would work. So it became I had too many MP3s in my hard drive, I'll put it on here, and then the drive will go bad, so it won't matter. You know, and that was around the time that then CDR started showing up, and I just burned CDs instead. You upgraded to 1 megabyte RAM? I couldn't. I wish I knew what the first computer specs were. Like, that was before I actually cared. And then I got that Pentium 1. I couldn't even tell you what was in that Pentium 1. I know it was a 100 megahertz hard drive. Or not hard drive, CPU. So I remember it was 100 megahertz on that thing. But I don't remember what anything else. Ooh. We actually hit our water hard enough that we did finally bring down the mangrove forest a little bit. We're gonna have the water recovered long before it hurts, but we have gotten to the point where we're able to just barely take that for being underwater. But as we mentioned before, as we go through the game, it's going to get worse and worse for the length of droughts to the time away from droughts, which is the reason why we keep building more and more reservoirs and all that. It does hit a cap, though, where it stops getting worse, though, after a while. Let's see. No, 1.2 megahertz. Oh, yeah, no, my first computer, I think it only had, like, the first computer only had the floppy drives, the 3.1... Actually, did it have a 3.14? It may have only had the big floppies. I actually don't remember if it had the little hard disks. The 3 1/4. I know it had the large ones. I just don't remember if it had the little ones. I'm not too clear on that. I know my second computer did. I think my second computer got rid of the 5.5 and only had the 3 1/4. No, wait, it may have had both. Man, I don't remember. This is going back 20 plus years. I don't remember these things. Alright, I'm going to quickly save, because we are getting to about that point. I would say this has been a pretty productive day in Timberborn. When we had started, we hadn't put together this use. None of these warehouses were done. We didn't have 2 whole layers on here. We didn't have the 2 houses over here. This was, I think it was a group of 5 of these. We had basically the same buildings, just not the paper mill or this over here. We built all this up to give ourselves much more reliable power, getting like easily 4 if not 5 times as much horsepower out of this now. We've got battery storage to keep us going a little bit over there. Water's getting a little bit sketch at the point. Our food is very stabilized now. We have expanded our population by another like 12 or so. And we are getting a good amount of progress towards this this reservoir being built out here for wherever we go to do our next expansion and all that. So yeah, it's going really solid. We have advanced our tech a bunch. We got 600 tech points I could also put into something. Our happiness went from, I think it was like 6 to 10. And we've also connected to metal over here, so we're finally getting metal brought into our place. So yeah, I would say... Oh, and we actually have 2 new food groups? No, three types of food group. Because we weren't actually using our mangroves before. They were growing, we just weren't harvesting them. And then we got the soy... So we got the mangroves, we got the soybeans, we got the mushrooms. And I think that's it. So we got 3 new food groups. So yeah, it's been a very solid day of progress in the game. So, for all of you over there on YouTube land, I am going to be ending the stream on the YouTube side because to switch game categories, that's what I have to do. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing the same thing over there on TikTok land. I'm going to be ending